everybody. Welcome to Trouble Wednesday. It is a Sprints and Shoptalk, which, in case you're new here or you've forgotten because it's been so long since the last one, a Sprints and Shoptalk is when it is my turn, Malissimo, to host. And I typically come up with or crowdsource a topic for the day. And in between the sprints, I ask questions of my co-hosts and also anybody in the chat. I highly encourage everybody to answer the questions, and oftentimes it devolves into less sprints and more shop talk. I will say, in my co-working space today, I have this room until 12:30 Mountain Time. Is it me, Jesus?
Nope.
It was not you.
Okay. That's another one of our bits that I love. Like how, like I know it was a vine, but like that's so funny that to like out of context just to randomly say that. Is it me, Jesus? Anyway, good morning, everybody. Devisha, how are you doing today, my dear?
I'm doing okay. We had a air conditioning tech guy come out and fix our unit. So and then my mom was gonna like transfer me some money to cover her portion of it, but she's like, oh, the ATMs are down. I'm like, scrambling, and so now I'm down $400.
Ooh,
cash. Cold hard cash, but we have air, so
I'm sorry, the
when we have
ATMs
first,
are
we have
down.
air.
There are ATMs on every corner of the street. What does she mean the ATMs are down? If the ATMs are down,
She works at a bank.
The ATMs in her bank that she's currently clocked in at.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's okay, that's fair. Never mind. Sorry. Ooch, Celluloop Duns, girl. Katie, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fairly well considering how rough I was at the end of last night.
Yeah, she was crashing out a little bit last night. We stayed up really late.
To go to sleep. She needed to go to sleep.
Well, the problem is that for everyone who doesn't know, we streamed for a while yesterday. And one of the things that I was doing yesterday was I stripped my sheets and I put it in the washer, and then the washer kept becoming unbalanced. Mm-hmm. And so basically it got to be, I was going to go to bed. I was like, shit, I still have them in the washer. Went over, they were still soaking wet. And so I was like, okay, we need to brainstorm. These two helped me like get over my panic and my frustration. And we brainstormed and have put different blankets and different things on my bed so I could sleep. I slept pretty well.
Good. Did you have to wake up to keep changing the sheets, or did you let them stay overnight?
I woke up at like 7 with my alarm. My alarm went off at 7, and I was like, okay, I got up. I like stumbled to the to the dryer. I like pulled the sheets out and like unraveled them and put them back and turn it on again. I'm going to do that during our first sprint too. I'm going to go and put them on again, or dry them again, because I'm going to dry them all day. But I did sleep, and
good.
Yeah, I'm still tired, but we're writing 4K today.
Are you ready to write 4K today?
Also, Katie, research says that possibly your spin cycle is too high. So maybe turn your spin down.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. Because I thought the more you like put the spin on, it would like just, I don't know.
No, high spin unbalances it.
Got it. Steve wants to know how late we stayed up last night, and I think we went to bed right around 2 a.m. Eastern, right? Yeah. And maybe he's back. Maybe. There he is. His location. And Sayla, she did, but it kind of messed her up again. So that was another part of the crash out.
Well, it wasn't super part of the crash out, but basically during the last sprint, I like wrote some words, and I was like, oh, I like remembered that I needed to change it. So I changed it to, whenever the document closes, and it reset the words that I had. So at the end of the sprint, if you watched the 8-hour stream, I do write 4,000 words, but like I don't know exactly how many words because it reset again. So
I can't tell if Steve is frozen or if he's just in a state of perplexity.
I think he's frozen.
He hasn't blinked, so I think it's a freeze.
Yeah. Oh, poor guy. I don't know what's going on over there with him. Anyway, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat.
How are you, Ms. Mo?
Wait, how are you?
I am doing really well. I needed that extra half hour. I knew last night when I set my alarm and I like was doing the calculations of like from going to bed the sleep we were getting, needing to get up, needing to get dressed, needing to feel like I spent enough time with the cat to like get over my guilt for leaving him for the day. And then driving to the co-working space, etc. I was like, I just need one extra half hour. And it wasn't even to sleep in for an extra half an hour. It was just to have more morning, like the morning to myself. But no, I'm doing great. I got here, I got set up in my little private room. I made myself a green tea free of charge, slay. I also have a glass of water. I'm going to really try and hydrate today. And also outside of running Spence and Shoptalk, I'm also going to try and have a chunky like writing day. There are some things for the big girl job that need to get done, but it's not as like dire as yesterday was. So I struggle because part of me is like, do those things first and then go into writing. But sometimes I do those things first and then I'm like, now I don't want to write, So it's a struggle. Anyway, let's say hello to the people. Alice is here. Good morning, guys. I will try to be here, but I'm just, this was at like 5 a.m. Damn, Alice. Okay.
Damn, Alice.
Here, but if you are, go back to bed. Keiko's here. Jessica's here. Manook. Oh my gosh. Hi. Welcome. Sayla is here. Essie is here. Hi. Keiko says, I need these sprints to rewind, but I think it means unwind because I have beef with a coworker who didn't do her work yesterday and got super cheeky when I asked her about it this morning. I was close to flipping. As he says, trying to write a book review before the house cleaner comes at 11:45. Is that in like just a couple of minutes or is that like in an hour and a couple of minutes? Anyway, either way, good luck. Jessica says, I have a weird goal of 5K today. Do I think you'll be able to do it? No, but I'm going to try and we will support you along the way. Jessica. Just Right with Jody Jean Daniels. Love that. Says, hello, everyone. My first time joining. Oh my gosh. Hi. Welcome. I need to get some writing done today. So thanks for the sprints. Hugs. I am going to try and have today's sprints and Shoptalk be a little lighthearted. So that way we don't do our sometimes like typical intense deep dives, just so that way we can have good sprints and people who want to get big workouts today can get workouts. Demisha, why do you look so distressed?
Because I'm trying to type, and every time I type, the fucking window goes down. These fucking sticky keys.
Oh, sorry.
The gremlins, they got us this morning. Damn.
Yeah, they really do. Annie is here. Hello. It's like 12 a.m., so I don't know if I'll be sprinting. Okay, where do we think Annie is? Wait, did we already decide Annie's in Tokyo? Did we already know? Is this Tokyo, Annie?
Oh.
I don't think so.
No? I mean, 12 a.m., I feel like that's...
Oh, maybe it is.
I do recall someone being in Tokyo, but I can't say if
it was someone, I think, with a purple profile.
It was someone
Annie's in Sydney.
who'd been raised in Australia, who had lived in Australia. Oh!
So I think there's somebody else who also has a purple profile who is in Tokyo.
Was it Lavender?
No, I don't think it's Lavender.
I don't think it's Lavender. It's someone new.
Lavender's because Lavender's been around for a while, like several years, I think. But they're more sporadic. But I know maybe Lavender and their little cute little emoticon. Yeah. Little guy.
Flora is here. Well, anyway, Annie, also let us know now that it's 12:40 a.m. Let us know. Are you just going to be vibing with us? Are you going to go to bed during the first sprint? Are you going to stick around for the shop talk? Because just as a reminder, the shop talk doesn't start until after our first sprint. I said hello to Flora. I'm saying hello. Hi, Ashton specifically.
Oh, I love
that. Wendy is here. Hello. Annie's so happy that Ash is here. Flora says, I'm going to use the first sprint for chores and then let's see, either some reading or writing or just staring in the middle distance. That's always an option. Hey, if you're thinking about your story during that staring, I count it as writing. And why, hello. Hi, Laura. Wow, there are 30 people here and I feel like everybody's like calling in the comments. I'm so happy. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lizzie. Only good thing today, I just got gifted a mobile grill thing by my boss. Hey, that's kind of a slay. I love a cookware item. Hi, Lindsay. Good morning. How is everybody today? What's everybody working on? Stu is here. Elena is here. Shelly is here. Mullen is here. You guys. Yes, I was ready to read Devacia's mom. I'm always ready to defend Devacia against anybody and anything except for me. except for me. Let's see. Oh Lord, Michael is here. Heather is here. Wow, this is crazy. Wallace, you've got me looking into shared workplaces. Oh my gosh, I'm planning on making a whole vlog, Lindsay. Wait until I make my vlog. I mean, don't do whatever you want, but I'm gonna make a whole vlog, like aesthetic, like come with me to my shared workspace for the day. I'm not gonna do it until probably I've been in this space for a couple of weeks, just so it's like a real vlog. It's not just me being like, here's my like shallow surface level understanding of what this place is. Like I want to have a full deep understanding of my routine here, and then I'm going to bring everybody along for the vlog. Okay, Miranda, why are we coming out starting the day as a bummer, as a buzzkill? Like, can we realign the energy, please? Like begging, please.
Those chakras in line.
Let me enjoy myself, because here's the thing. Every little freebie that I get reduces the price in my mind. It's girl math, but like,
No, you're so right, because you could have gone to a coffee shop and got that same green tea for $12.
Exactly. Thank you, Devisha. That's one of the reasons why I've decided to come here, is that I've been going to Katie, check your iPhone.
Check your iPhone as opposed to her trap phone. Like what?
Like, you know, I've been going to coffee shops, and I'm a believer that if you're going to hunker down at a coffee shop, you buy something on the hour every hour. But the problem is the coffee shop I go to also sells home goods. So a lot of times I'm not just buying a $7 coffee. I was spending like $80 on new plates. So it's like, I really do think
new plates to put your hot pockets on.
I love my plates. They're beautiful. You know why? Because they're the plate bowl combo, and every have those. Those
I do
are
love those.
And they're handmade by like a local person. So it's like, they're expensive, and I bought like 6 of them. So it's like $12 a plate. Actually, wait, is that the right math? $15 a plate? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jonas, good morning. Essie has a little over an hour to write her book review before the housekeeper arrives. He's in Sydney. I am a DJ and don't sleep until 2, so I might do a little sparkle sprint. Oh my
God,
I love that. Lindsay's pumped for the vlog.
You're coming home with me.
Please let me know if there's doxable material in there. Miranda, I am doxed. That's the thing. Like, that's why she's moving. That's why I'm getting a new apartment, not on the first floor. Because, oh my God, I don't know if you guys have been following the threads, but between Victoria Aveyard and all the authors right now begging newbie authors to choose to do a pen name, I'm like, we've had this conversation 2 years ago. I mean, maybe they were having the conversation 2 years ago and I wasn't paying attention, but I truly feel like the first time I ever saw Victoria Aveyard say use a pen name was literally 2 weeks after my Publishers Marketplace announcement. And like, I was like, okay, well, oops. I'm getting my money's worth. You know what? That's a great reframing. Getting my money's worth, but it's not quite free. That's fair. You romanticize that hot pocket. Thank you, Kristen. You put that on the good china. Thank you. No, wait, that's a vibe though. Fans buy your hot pocket. Thank you. But people don't know where you work. Yeah, but
they do though, because that one weird situation. Anyway.
And also, I'm going to start using this. One of the benefits of this place is that you can use it as your business address. And I want to have a business address for people to send me stuff because, but I don't want to give them, I didn't want to do a PO
fan mail.
And I didn't, no, not fan mail, but like, I don't know.
Gifts.
I've had people reach out. I've had people reach out like, and I'm just sort of like, oh, I don't share my address, but now I have an address to share. So people, and the name of this workspace, which is going to be plastered all over the vlog, is literally the only one of these in the town I live in. So people are going to know, but it's a secure space there. You have to have a digital key to get in, everything like that. So anyway, Lindsay says, what's the pen name combo? I'm so out of it. Basically this could be a whole Sprints and Shoptalk, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Didn't we talk about pen names in a Sprint and Shoptalk?
I don't even know, maybe, but
probably. Also, I'm sorry, we're going mobile. I forgot I had a toaster strudel in the oven.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm so out of it. So basically, a lot of big like fantasy authors, I think it's mainly in the fantasy author space, are just having a conversation about like safety. Women fantasy authors, I should say. And I'm sorry, Miranda is like giving me hardcore stress right now. Anyway, people are basically saying if you have the option to not have your legal government name be your public name, take it. So
basically Victoria Aveyard was like, for the first, like, she got married I think like a year or two ago, and she was like talking about on TikTok, she was like, this is like the first time I've actually felt safe because my actual name is my husband's last name and I don't share that. That's not public. And so she's like, my real name has become my pen name now because I'm no longer known as, like, legally I'm not Victoria Aveyard.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot find me as easily. And she's like, if you, like, she was like, I should have picked a pen name and I feel so much safer now that I don't have my actual like name being my writing name.
Yeah, that's fair. Kristen said, I saw that thread, made me spiral trying to figure out a pen name yesterday. Miley's here, still in bed. Keiko says, using a pen name here in Germany wouldn't mean much if you self-publish, but you still have to write your real name in business contracts and the impression because of books, because of laws. And I'm getting lectured about, I don't know. I'll think on it. Sayla says UPS box, so you can get a street address and get UPS and FedEx deliveries. Yeah, no, I've thought about doing a PO box, but you know, they are an extra cost. A PO box, publicizing where you go 5 days a week to work is such a bad idea. Look, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but if you have somebody's real name, you can find out where they live. Like, it takes, I shouldn't say this, but you know, it's just you, the four of us, and our 31 closest friends. But literally, my name is so unique. You can Google my name and find out my current address, the address of the place I grew up, the address of the school that I went to where I lived for 4 years. Like, you know, it's just, that's how the internet works, because I've had things shipped to me. I have myself like registered on, you know, websites to get stuff sent to me. And then they sell that data. And then there's basically a Yellow Pages website where you can go and find anybody's thing. So I don't know. I just feel like it's out there already.
In a state of fear.
What'd you say, Devisha?
We shouldn't live in a state of fear.
Well, and like, it's out there already, you know? So it's like, I can try to hide it, but if somebody wants to know where I live, they can. It literally doesn't even take effort. It takes 5 seconds. So you cannot put that toothpaste back.
We can triangulate you via Olive Garden.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And also, Miranda, I totally understand your concern here, but this isn't a long-term place. I'm only planning, and granted, like, I know that maybe I shouldn't even do a business address here if I'm not planning on staying here long-term. But the thing is that I'm only planning on having this until the end of the summer, until I get this draft done. So, because this was kind of an emergency, what's it called? Like an emergency fix, I guess, because I was feeling really spiraling out of control in my apartment after my pet died. So this is not a long-term thing. You should be stressed. I don't care. I mean, look, there are things that I'm anxious about, and for whatever reason, this isn't one of them. I think it's coming from a place of like, I know I'm not interesting enough for someone to try and actually like stalk me, you know? Or like, I don't know. Like, it just, I don't know. Anyway, you can put the strudel on the good China grape. Katie, why are you giving me that look?
We don't have to get into it. We can talk about
it. Okay. Stu says, damn you. Okay, yeah, someone give me a name. I mean, is it not Stu?
You have one, Stu.
Scary Stu.
Gary says, hi, I wish I could chat more, but I'm doing workouts and the trainer is so supportive. I want to cry. That's lovely. Also, why are you here while you're working out? That's hilarious. To be fair, Kristen Leatherman is a pen name. Whoa, that's crazy. Did not realize.
It's a great pen name too.
It's a great pen name.
I love it.
Sayla says, damn, I'm saving my pen name for my dark romance books to separate genres, but I guess could use it for everything else I put out. Yeah, you may not get the Yellow Pages on your doorstep anymore, but it still exists. Exactly. My name is also unique to the point. Everyone who has my family name is part of my family tree. Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's really cool. My name is Loud Incorrect Buzzer Sound. Yeah, I'm also way too aware of how easy it is to find where I live. Like, why even invite this? What is it with you in the manifestation right now, Miranda? Like, I mean, I don't know. I get where Miranda's coming from. I'm seeing why too many living alone vlogs, like, ladies, I get the vibe, but also safety first. Oh, no, truly, the day I decided to move to a new place was the day I finished like the second season of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Like, oh man, it spooked me. It's not about like living out of fear. It's just like being smart and safe. I don't know, Miranda, like 30 people watch my videos. Like, I don't know at what point is it being overly cautious. Stopgap patch. Oh, you were trying to
Emergency.
Yeah, you should be trying to help me figure out the word I was looking for. I like it, just somehow feels like it's not really common, though others might disagree. Hi, Kelly. Hello. Love the pen name versus real name reveals on these live streams. I know it is always so fun when we get a reveal, especially the ones we've discovered 5 times before. I mean, I'm sorry if person said it. Oh, it's my maiden name, which is why it doesn't feel far enough away to actually keep people from finding my info if they really wanted to. You just don't need to make it any easier. It's literally the easiest. That's the thing. Like, I think it's actually easier for maybe like if a reader wants to know where I think it's easier for them to just Google my name and find me in the yellow pages versus hunting down my YouTube channel, my teeny tiny YouTube channel, you know? Lizzie says, hot take, but you're more likely to be killed by someone you know than a rando on the internet, so I wouldn't worry about the pin name thing. It feels like fear-mongery clickbait. Lindsay, I think you and I are really aligned here on this. I don't know. I'm just anxious about so many things. I'm very glad this is not something I'm anxious about. But Miranda, you and my sister are really aligned, but on like your caution that you take. Also, don't appreciate being called dumb while live, but it's fine. We move on. Miranda called me an idiot earlier in the week. I think this is just the new dynamic. Not sure how much I love it, but it's fine. And he says 38 million people share my surname, so I think I'm okay. Wendy says there's actually another person out there with the same name as me, which is annoying. Oh, well, at least you're not like a John Smith, you know?
There's
Anyway.
another person out there called Some Deep Mystery.
Jonas says Stu, Stuart Stamson, Stuart Quills, Smith Weston, Weston Williams. Are these all pen names that you're considering, Jonas?
No, they're names for
Just for Stu.
Oh, for Stu. I love it. Okay. All right. Anyway, 22 minutes in, 23 minutes in. Not too bad, but we're going to get into our first sprint of the day, especially for sprints and shop talk. I mean, sometimes we're like 45 minutes in and we're like, should we even sprint? Okay, fine. Let's do one sprint. So it's a sprint and shop talk. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking for our first sprint, let's do a little amuse-bouche and do like, I'm thinking 15 or 20. How do we feel?
Ooh.
20.
Can 20? I request a 20? Yes.
Okay.
I'm aligned with Grape.
Then a 20 it is. And Devesha, everybody go around and quickly say what you're going to do just in this first sprint, if this little amuse-bouche sprint.
This first sprint, I'm doing the Adult C life tasks. I got to call my dentist, my doctor.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
All the peoples.
Oh,
Catherine?
I'm going to be charging my headphones and also going and getting a coffee and just like setting up my workspace.
Not physically leaving your house, though.
No, I'm going downstairs to get my headphones. Yeah, no, I'm not leaving.
It's like, oh, we'll never see you again.
No.
Duncan run? She's gone.
I mean, I think the chances of not seeing her again are equal if she leaves the house or if she goes downstairs.
Luckily, Mama Eyeballs is currently having breakfast with one of our family friends, so I will not be distracted by her downstairs. Thank God.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, Stieg?
I'll be drafting.
Okay, nice. And I've been considering it as we've been sitting here, and I do think I'm going to spend this first sprint finishing my tea, writing down my like daily task list, and then just doing the one thing I really need to do for the big girl job, and then moving into writing or like getting my workspace, my workflow together, which by the way, I meant to say this at the start, but today we're discussing kind of like workflow. Like I said, it's a lighter topic. So, you know, all right. Is everybody ready?
Is there any questions I should prepare for? An exam? A pop quiz?
Well, the questions come after the first sprint.
But like, how will I know the
I don't think
answer
it's
if I can't think about it?
thought-provoking, Steve.
It's not
just
super
like
thought-provoking. Yeah.
I don't need to be deep about it.
This is not a deep conversation. This is almost a sprints and shopping. Almost.
Sprints and shop.
Yeah. All right.
Just listen talk.
All right. Happy sprinting, everybody. Okay. All right, everybody. I would like everyone to know that I, for this sprint, said to do creation. I wanted to make my to-do list. And I wrote the word Wednesday. But I did do the task for my big girl job that I needed to do. It was just send an email that luckily Past Walls took care of Future Walls, because Past Walls drafted the email last night. And so I just read it over a couple times and sent it. And then I also spent the majority of that sprint getting chewed out in the group chat by one while Miranda wrote about online safety practices. But, you know, I was just thinking about that this morning, literally on the way here. Like, I spent so much of my life being anti, like, putting yourself out there on the internet. I used to live by a rule of, like, if what I'm about to do would embarrass my future children because there's a digital record of it, I shouldn't do it. And now I'm literally out here, like, streaming live for 9 hours in a single day. Like, I was in bed for half the stream yesterday. Like, talk about intimate. Like, just.
You streamed for 9 hours?
Yes, we streamed for 9 hours. And that's after Katie and I streamed with you. Like, that's not including the streaming we did with you. So.
Dang.
Okay, Devasia has left. Katie Ann, how did you do?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. I'll just wait for you to get back for you to update, though, because I don't want you to have to shout if you don't want to shout. But
shout. No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. How did you do during that sprint?
I called my dentist and I called like 6 different times. I pressed each number on the like option menu, went to voicemail each time, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna press the like make a new appointment number, you know?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're gonna pick up for people who want to make an appointment. And I will admit, I was terse with the lady on the phone, but she was nice and she sent over what needed to be sent over. And then I was like, you know what? I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, but y'all need to fix that because that's annoying.
Oh, that's fair. What'd she say?
Nothing. I apologize and I hung up.
She's like, it's not my job.
That's fair.
And then I oh sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh, and then I was thinking like I'd be more likely to eat breakfast, lunch if I made lunch the same time that I made breakfast. So then I made Brussels sprouts.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yum.
That's nice. I did want to say quickly, Sayla, if you're still here, once again, you're coming in clutch, girly, because I just got a wave of nausea, and I always keep a couple Zofran in this little thing. Sayla gave this to me at my book tour, by the way. So we're taking Zofran. Katie Ann, how did you do?
I did well. I went downstairs. I got my coffee. I sent an email that I had to my team, and then my mom came home from breakfast from Brekkie and brought me some breakfast. So that's what I'm going to be consuming.
What is
She
it?
didn't ensnare you?
She did not. As I told, it was 5 minutes left in sprint, and she called me. I was like, "Mom, I have literally 5 minutes until the sprint ends." And she's like, "Okay." So I ran downstairs. I have Boo Boo here too. You'll probably see his nose at some point. And she's like, "Let me put Boo Boo out for you." She gave me like the cliff notes of what they talked about. And then I got my food and came back
She
up.
can do
So I know
I'm about to say
You can do
Mama
hard
Apples
things.
can do cliff notes.
people can do hard things. Okay, people
I
do hard
thought
things.
she was just, college program kind of girly.
She tried. She really did. She did try to pull me in. I was like, "Mom,
And
I
we
literally-
love her for that. We love her for that.
I love my mother, but I'm like, girl, I gotta go.
I appreciate your dedication.
I love sprints and Shoptalk. That's how you truly know I love sprints and Shoptalk. My favorite day of the year.
Oh my God, you weren't
I love
here.
Sprinter Shop Talk more than I love my mom.
You heard it here first.
Steve, you
Mama
weren't.
Apples, if you're watching, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Steve, you weren't here for it. But last night during the stream, Katie was like really starting to crash out about like how she had just so many words to write. And I was like, well, what if instead of a Sprints and Shop Talk tomorrow, we did a Walls Work Day? And she was like, I'll throw myself in front of a train or something like that. Like she was like so aggressive about it. She's like, no, you can't take it from me. And I was like, I wasn't trying to take anything. I was trying to help you. But okay.
Oh,
Steve, how did you do during that sprint?
is she dying on camera? Can we
I don't know,
monetize
but I need
this?
my Zofran to kick in. Otherwise, I'm going to throw up in this trash can in here. Oh my God.
Oh,
Is it?
no.
Oh my God. No, it's one of the mesh ones where the throw up would just.
Oh, this takes me back, Wallace. This takes me back. I wrote, also forgive me, Karl Marx, for I have bought, I will say. I'm here to confess my sins.
Okay.
And now they're confessed, so we can move
No,
on.
you gotta confess. What did you buy?
I bought an edition of The Hobbit.
Well, was it the Lego thing?
No, of the book.
I mean, to be fair, I know. Is that really like your first unnecessary purchase since January 1st?
It's my first impulse, but also it's been on my buy list for 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
So it's not even an impulse.
Okay.
But it's the first time where I'm like, ooh, it's like a reward.
And what was it a reward for, first of all?
It was a reward for completing 80,000 words in a manuscript.
Okay, that's legitimate. I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. That's legitimate. I think,
support this.
wait, wasn't this the thing that, oh no, you were wanting to buy vinyls as a reward for getting.
That was for 70,000 words, and I outsourced that to my brother. I have still yet to receive something, but we'll see.
Honestly, Steve, and again, I don't want to placate you here too badly because I don't want you to be like, oh, this is okay for me to do this. But I really think that you can have compassion for yourself over this one. As long as it's this is something you collect. This is something you've wanted for a long time. Reaching 80,000 words is something that deserves recognition. Also, it was a book. It wasn't like you bought the $200 Lego set, which you really were really considering doing, right? So I think, I think your no buy is still totally intact. I think you're doing great. And the idea here now is just because you spilled a little bit of milk, don't dump out the whole glass, right? I saw a TikTok recently that was like that. And I was like, oh, that's
the world showed no compassion to me.
No, but seriously, I think I saw this thing where it was like, the guy was carrying a thing of laundry and a single sock fell out. So then he just threw all the laundry on the ground, right? And that's such a great metaphor of just because you mess up once doesn't mean you should further destruct your behavior. It's okay. You can still.
And also reframing, it's a low buy, not a no buy, Wallace. You keep saying no buy, but it's a low buy. And so far, I've been saving so much money, I don't know what to do with it. So.
Well, save it, put it in.
So then why did you bring this as an admission of guilt?
Because I wasn't supposed to unnecessarily purchase. And Wallace has a stipulation that I have to plead my case of any reward purchases to the council.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to do that before you purchase it, but
I know, but ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
No, you should ask for permission. That's the point. And actually, I will.
Oh, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's the saying. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I am going to dock you for that because I think I would have said go for it if you had asked for permission. But here's the other thing. I think in situations like this, it's always best to just be honest. This is me and Devesha with, shopping at Sephora, right? At the moment I stop telling her when I'm buying makeup is when we have a problem. As long as I'm okay to admit what's happening, I'm comfortable with the situation. But as soon as I start thinking, I'm going to just buy one little thing and I don't need to admit to that, that's when we're having a problem. So thank you for your admission.
Yes, and unlike Wallace's Sephora trip, I'm not disappointed in you, Steve.
Oh, dang. Are we just kicking Wallace while she's
It was
down?
a backslide, Wallace, and you know it.
I do, but I also,
backslide.
It's okay. We're just going to move on. Is everybody ready for the first question in Sprints and Shop Talk?
Yes.
Wait, what did you do? Did everyone
I wrote Wednesday on my to-do list.
Oh, right. Well, I only wrote one sentence in my book, so.
Got it.
Hey, you want to share it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are we doing that here too? Okay.
We can.
Sure. It's more weather. I'm so sorry for anyone who's looking for weather reports. I'm your guy.
I like it. Give it to me.
I'm
weather
so good at it.
Tell me about the weather in Colorado 200 years ago.
Well, buckle up, Wallace. Buckle up. By the time the pale eye of the sun dipped below the horizon, the ruins of Saints' Rest came into view, nestled in the jagged embrace of the mountains. That's what I wrote.
That's not weather. That's great scene setting. That's forward momentum. We have achieved a location. I love it. Picasso.
Also, the pale eye of the sun. Oh,
so good.
Stunning.
All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking about writing a book. I don't know. We'll see.
You should. Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
take it with me while I flip my Brussels sprouts. So sorry.
Okay, Devisha, do you want me to, while you're doing that, I'm gonna put you last so that way
Perfect.
you don't feel like you need to answer the question. Then I'm gonna put Katie first because I know Steve would get stressed if he had to answer the question first. Okay. So the first question is, walk us through your workflow on a first draft. What tools do you use and in what order? And remember, everybody in the chat, you are welcome to also answer this question, because in between everybody on screen's answer, I will go and address some of the chat answers as well.
Okay. Workflow on first draft. I think it's actually changed quite a bit. And I think that's kind of why I've been personally struggling with my first draft on the book 2.
Mm-hmm.
I've had book 2's idea planned out for like literally years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of what I do is when I have an idea, I will go into Google Docs and I will dump the ideas for it, and then I will add to that. And so I use Google Docs for that. And I have like a whole Google Doc with all these little folders, because they have the little tab function now on the side, which I really like. And then when it has enough legs, it will get its own Scrivy file.
Okay.
I will use for anyone who doesn't know, I should explain as well. Scrivy is Scrivener. It's a tool to use. There's a lot of functionality in it.
Katie, can you move just slightly closer to your microphone? You're not underwater. It's just not picking you up super clearly. So, at least for me.
Hello?
Like I can hear you, but it's just not clear.
It's also probably because I still have morning voice. Is this better?
A little better, yeah.
Let me check my mic as well.
No, it's definitely on. I think it was a little too far from you. Sorry.
Is this better?
No, you're now really quiet. Can you talk a little more?
It wasn't my actual mic.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. It was
so
taking from my computer audio as opposed to.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, that is so much better.
there we go. We fixed it. Yay. Troubleshooting done.
Done. Nice.
And usually in Scrivener, I will have a notes doc, a notes file, which is just like all the brain dump from the original Google Doc will go in there. And then I will create character things. I will create like I have like a little outline thing. I have, the vibes, stuff like that. And I'll have that in like my notes section. And then, I'll just go through, and mostly by this point I have like a big chunk of stuff, and it's just about pulling it from the original note doc and putting it in the right category. So I categorize them. And then, obviously the other tools that I use, I'll make a Pinterest board at this point. I will make a Spotify playlist. I will, try to culminate a vibe. I'll go for a drive.
You'll go for a drive?
I'll go for a drive. Yeah.
Wow.
I love a drive. Just like a little drive. There's like a very specific route that I go to that's like just a random little like back road, country roads route that I go every time. And it's like about 30-minute drive. And I do that whenever I'm doing a lot of thinking. And sometimes if I'm having a really hard time thinking, I'll go to a local park and I will sit and I will consider at the park instead.
Whoa.
Yeah. Contemplating the workflow. And then usually my first draft starts when I have a beginning and when I kind of know roughly where I want the end to be. I'm a victim of the mucky, murky, terrible, no good, very bad day middle. So I never know what my middle is. Act 2 is like a foreign land that I will cross when I get there, but I at least I need to know how to start the book. I need to know the inciting incident. And then I need to know roughly what is the ending going to be? Like, what am I trying to shoot for? And, and then I just kind of try to go from there. And I am kind of becoming more of an outliner, but I still love to pants. I think having a lot of like detailed character profiles, like I will figure out what my character zodiac signs are so I can pull character traits from that little thing. And like that is I find a lot of like juicy little like tidbits of ideas for what characters could be like. Because like, does it really matter that they're a Scorpio? No, but they tell me that like a Scorpio has hidden depths or whatever. I'm like, okay, interesting. Like let's riff off of that. So That's like the very broad overview of how I flow.
Thank you. And I have an idea for you. And this is for all of us, actually. I am so charmed by this, even though.
Oh no, you want us to show the Scrivy file?
No. I think it'd be so funny. You know how like the Vanity Fair, whatever, does those things with Billie Eilish every year?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I think it'd be
same interview every year.
Yeah, no, not every year. Because like I think, you know, all of our habits, we're still all early in our writing careers, even though sometimes it like doesn't feel like it, but we are arguably, hopefully, right? So I think it'd be cool in like 5 years for you to make a video where you clip that clip of you answering what your current workflow is, and then 5 years down the line, reevaluate and be like, this is what it is now. This is what I think of that strategy. Like, because, you know, that should be said right at the top of this. We all started writing at different times, but arguably we all are still in like the infancy of our writing experience. So,
100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, Katie. The drive and the park is such a surprise to me. I feel like I didn't know that about you. I did not think of you as like a go for a drive to clear your head or like consider kind of girly. Like I thought you were more
really.
Yeah, I know. And that's not me. That's not me. That's not me questioning it. I believe you. It's just not something I had picked up on because it's like
I don't believe you, Katie.
Katie isn't in the car girly. Hello?
I know she
but on her way to Dunkin', not to the park.
Exactly. That's what I
watched that video, Katie. I watched that video.
I will also say there is a post on my Instagram. I don't know if it's still up. If it's not, I will unarchive it so we can go and look at it. I just think it's so funny that it's from several years ago. And I literally in there talk about going on a drive, listening to Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo while thinking about my book.
Yeah.
I will say you are a playlist girly. You didn't mention that, but I know you will adhere to a playlist.
Yes.
And I will adhere to a playlist. In your process.
Oh yes, I'm a playlist, so, and that's also why the book 2 is so chaotic to me right now because I have no set playlist for it. It's like we're having a time anyway.
I thought usually we're on the spectrum. Earlier when you were saying that when you have a bad day or whatever, you go on a drive. I was gonna make the joke afterward, but I couldn't get to the computer in time. That when you're having a really, really bad day, you get in the bathtub.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, to me, Katie in like contemplative mode means bath time. That's what I think about is for Katie is a bath. So
it depends on if I like it. Honestly, it depends on the time of day. Actually, I think you're both right. I think if it's later at night, I'm more inclined to get in the bath. If it's like in the daytime, I am more inclined to go take a drive. And sometimes I do both.
Yeah,
sometimes I take a drive and I come home and I get in the bath.
Do you know what this also is? It's like I so very rarely talk to you while you're in the car. And so to me, it's like, except if we're together, right? Like, so, but like, I talk to you so much that there's a part of me that's like, Katie's never in the car because I never see her in the car.
I just need to start sending you. No, the reason why Devesha knows is because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to you guys. And I'll start doing this for you guys too, if you want me to. But I know I will send Devesha a voice note that's basically like, this is a note to myself and you're on the top of my thing. So I just click it and I'm like, it doesn't really matter. You can listen to this too. Like, it doesn't matter. But like, this is a note for me.
I love that. That's so cute. I love that.
And I'll be like, I'm in a car and I can't write it down.
No, that's so cute. I love that. I'm glad that you.
And she's like, something, villa, something, sex, something.
something this, and I'll be like, here's
very extensive notes.
I'm like, here's the thing, and I'm like, something thematic statement, something sex, something kitten, something I don't know. And I'm like, I'll bridge those gaps later. Or I'm like, if you have any thoughts, let me know.
I love that. That's amazing. Mullen says, my new workflow is now heavily documents for Project Alien. I'm mixing in beat sheet from Save the Cat and a character beat sheet, kind of external, internal plot, basically in Notion. Also, we had a Jot arrive. Sayla says, phone notes of initial idea vibes. Nice. Add title or summary to Notion, Pinterest board, playlist, then Scrivener doc. Mullen's continuation. Then I end up pantsing a lot because my outline is a mixture of very or poorly detailed. And I write in First Draft Pro. Oh, I've never heard of that because I like to break down outline by scene with their tool. Have any of you guys heard of First Draft Pro?
Yes.
I haven't tried it.
What's the like vibe of it? What's different about it from other word processors?
It's like an online version of Scrivener, but from the Skinnylicious menu. So I find it lacking.
You find it lacking? Is that what you said?
Yes.
The Skinnylicious menu.
Yes, like it's decaf Scrivener basically. But I do enjoy it a lot. But I do also wish we can get into this at a later point because I thought about this. But yeah, I know her.
Ooh, this could be another Spencer Shop Talk.
Oh, well, I
Software.
mean, you can, well, that's what workflow is. Like, this is what we're talking about, right? Is like all of our tools and stuff like that. So if you want to go into it, go into it.
I'm not gonna hog into Katie's screen time.
Katie's screen time is over. That's why I've gone into the comments.
Oh,
You
right.
listen
That's
to
why
your
we're in the
screen time.
comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it, but I do need an offline program.
That's
And
fair.
it doesn't really do well offline. Actually, it doesn't do offline at all.
Oh, wow.
So, but I do enjoy it for drafting. It is a subscription-based model, so if you want over 50,000 words in your draft, which is most books, you have to pay for it.
Wow.
And you can only have like 2 or 3 projects with the free version.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. How much is the subscription?
Oh, it is super affordable. $6, whatever. What is a banana? $5? I don't know.
A month?
Yes, I want to say.
Okay, because that's like way more than Scrivener costs, and you just have to do like in a year, in an annual sense, and you just have to buy Scrivener once.
I know.
So that doesn't actually seem affordable to me. Compared.
That's why I don't like the
$6.
subscription-based ones.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not $6. Malin Colin, and I think I also had the event that shall not be named.
I've seen that.
Oh, that was me. My bad.
Code. What's it called? Promo code. There you go. Not premonition code. I had a promo code, so I got it for like $3 or something. But yeah, it is a monthly subscription, which is also no es bueno.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started on Word. The Word, like the Office suite. Also, I had to do past pages for my paperback for Dark and Secret Magic coming out in August, everybody. Which you can pre-order now if you want to, whatever. Everybody here has bought a hardcover. You do not need to pre-order the paperback. But I was sending out past pages.
But if you're a true friend and a trooper, you will.
No, my true friends, you guys have shown yourself to be true blue friends all year. Focus your energy on Katie now. Like, I am so happy. You guys don't ever need to buy another book from me because you guys got me on a USA Today bestseller list for my debut, and that's all I could have wanted, truly. So thank you. Your work here is done for Wally Sumo. But I had to do my final notes in Word to send to my publisher because that's kind of just industry standard. And I had done everything in Pages beforehand. And literally I was making final adjustments, and whatever reason is going on with like Word updated. So that way you can write along with an AI and like, it'll help you. But now for whatever reason, you can't highlight a sentence. At least I couldn't. You can't like click and drag to highlight and delete or anything like that. It was so annoying. I was irritated because it kept trying to get me to write with AI whenever I was trying to highlight or something and be like, write with AI. And I'm like, no. Oh my God, it was so annoying. Anyway.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Miley says, and Steve, we're going to get to you in just a second. Miley says, first, I let the demons bang on my head at least one shower, which I love that phrase. And then I get out of the current spiral bound notebook and colored pens to dump what I have. And then after a page or two, I can make a doc. And at some point I make a playlist, but those take a long time for me to curate. That's fair. And then the docs are a mess: a vomit doc, a master doc, a playpen draft doc, and eventually the actual zero draft doc. I love that, Miley. Jessica says, I read up a short synopsis, then do my character profiles. I'll type up notes about both the characters and the story. And then I go to outlining individual chapters, but only about 10-ish. Oh, wow. And then did she follow up with a second? Is there a second Jessica Berry one? No, not yet. I don't see one. Or maybe this is just it. A1, she was saying that this is the answer to the first question, not part one. Okay. Wendy says, I also love a drive for brainstorming of just working things out. Same. I like going into the mountains when I'm feeling overwhelmed and need to like think things through. There is something about it where it's like, because I know I can't use my hands, the pressure to use my hands is gone, you know? And so it's like, I can just let my brain mull on stuff. You have to trust that you'll remember, which is why I love Katie's like voice note to Devasia. That's so funny. Annie says, brain dump, attempt to organize the brain dump, create the vibes, Pinterest board, Spotify playlist, write a blurb, and then usually have enough to outline act one at least. And then I'll switch between world building and plotting. All right, Stieg, I'm going to let you walk us through your workflow in a first draft. What tools do you use and in what order?
For the cowboy book, I had this idea of like, I want to write cowboy and monster hunters. That was basically the entire premise. So I always start with a Google Keep document, like the Google Note app.
Okay.
And just like put everything, like names, thoughts of dialogues, places, you know, vague descriptions riddled with typos. Anything I can think of goes in that notes document.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no rhyme or reason to how much I gather and collect before I sit down to write a first draft. I didn't have a whole lot for the cowboy book. So when I sat down to write the cowboy book, I was like, okay, I need a main character. I need a plot. I need, you know, world building. So that was a lot more active than my other books have been in terms of sitting down and actually working on it. Also because I knew that I was starting November 1st. And I think this was like a couple of weeks before. So I was very active in like, okay, I don't have a lot in my notes app, but I'm just going to have to figure it out. I wrote a blurb because I read that you're supposed to do that before a draft so that you know what you're writing about. So I wrote a blurb in a one sentence, 2-sentence blurb or something.
Oh, wow.
And then I also wrote a super short synopsis that went along with the blurb. And then I did First Draft Pro for Act 1. And then I restarted the book after my hike last year because I was kind of like not vibing with what I was having, which was nothing. And then I restarted it in Scrivener because I just think I'm a Scrivener boilie. I will say, humorously to my first attempt, I did a Notion page. Why am I pronouncing these SHs? I did a Notion page where I keep my story Bible. So like characters, world building, blah, blah, blah. So I don't do any of that in Scrivener. It goes into my Google Apps if I'm out and about, you know, as you are as an adult. And then I transfer that to my Notion page in any appropriate section. And then I might use it, I might not. So yeah, thought dump, Scrivener is basically the vibe. And I decided that I wanted to at least outline the 5 big scenes for the novel. So that's what I did. I sat down and I figured out like the 10 posts. Is that what they call them? The bridge posts, whatever. So like I knew my inciting incident, flag post maybe. I think one of the books I read describes it as like, you know, columns on a bridge across a gap or something. I forget what that is called. But I sat down and I worked out, okay, what is my transition into Act 2? What is my midpoint? What is my transition into 3? What is the ending? So I knew all of those things, but everything in between is like literally as I go. What's that word? Pantsing. Yeah.
Pantsing. Got it.
So I guess I'm like a very vague headlights writer.
Okay. Yeah. Other than like you're saying Scrivener and stuff, what are there any like tools for inspiration that you use on the side?
Not really.
Not a Pinterest guy, not a Spotify playlist person.
I can't write with music. I do love a Spotify playlist for a vibe, but it doesn't. Like my writing informs the playlist. My playlist doesn't inform the writing, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
So I'm like, oh, I need a song for this, you know, relationship. What could that be? And then, you know, I'll go out and I know a lot of songs. I'll be like, oh, that is perfect. And I'll pick a song. And I do mood boards, but they're more like vibe checks than inspiration.
Okay.
I also don't do character claims because I don't know what my character looks like. I have, like, for the main ones,
Are all the art I've seen not like face claims? What?
Oh, that's like the cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a face claim? Because
Well,
that's like not
maybe not
real
a face
though.
claim, but it's knowing what your character looks like.
Yes, it is a visual representation, but like in terms of like, you know, face claims as actors and models and stuff.
I'll give you that, but I'm pushing back on you not knowing what the characters look like.
And I'll be pushed back. Thank you for correcting me.
Welcome.
That's so funny. Well, I do have one question about the songs you were saying, though, about how the writing informs the songs don't inform the writing. Do you ever, though, find it that you're listening to the song and then you're like, oh, there's nuance here or something, and you like, because that you're listening to the song, you're thinking about the story, and thus it gives you a spark? Or is that not really something you find in your workflow?
Since I don't listen to music while I write, or like I don't listen to a lot of music in general.
I know you don't listen to music while you write. I'm saying when you listen to the song that you've decided this is a song that represents that relationship, do you ever find outside of writing?
It's not a categorical no, but I can't think of an example right now.
Okay, gotcha. Because I like, not to jump ahead, but I would definitely say music is also a big part of my workflow. And I would agree that it's like a feedback loop where the writing informs the songs. I don't like have a song that I love and think, how can I make this work for the story, right? It's like I listen to it, I'm like, oh, this really works for my story already. But then through further listenings to that song, it then also informs the writing. So the writing informs the song, and the song also informs the writing for me. So I was just curious if it was the same for you, but it sounds like not.
No, I can't say it does.
Gotcha. All right. Wendy says, when I get an idea, I just brain dump it into a document, everything I know about the idea, and then I start working out from there. It depends on the idea what I work on first. I try to come up with an ending or what an ending might be, and then a middle, because I struggle with middles. And lately I've been outlining and then fleshing out the outlining, but I'm not sure that it's actually beneficial to me. And this is what we're going to get into in question 2. I think it's making me overthink things even more. And then I make a project in Scrivener. Yeah, we're going to talk about like the first question. You guys can think about this because we're like, we have to get through, we don't have to get through, but Devesha's going to answer. And then we have to try
to get through it because it's going to be painful.
No, but then the next question is basically, this first question is us saying what our workflow is. And then the next question is us kind of like admitting whether or not it's working for us. So
I'm very excited for your answer, Grape, as someone who's been metaphorically pegged by your workflow.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. It's
I've forgotten where I was. Sorry, guys.
But I use a lot of ambience when I write, so that does inform the writing.
Okay.
So for the settings, I'll be like Wild West Saloon or Wild West Campfire Desert or Wild West.
Are you doing that like in AI or where are you doing
just that? In the old YouTube.
Oh, like ambience music is what you're saying, like, but not music,
like ambience, not even music, just sounds, just like
soundscapes.
Kind of like the Olive Garden one, where there's like just chatter in the background. You know, there's some gunfire.
But the Olive Garden one has music. The Olive Garden one has.
I mean, yes, but that's like diegetic music, if that makes sense.
That's true. It's within the soundscape. That's fair. It is. That's true.
That's a good word. Hold on, right now.
I love that word. Yeah, that is such a good word. All right. Laura says, I come up with a premise, then start pantsing with an opening image, mood board on Canva, and playlist in Spotify as I draft in Word. Love that, Laura. That is such a clear and concise answer. Thank you. Malin has a follow-up on our subscription stuff. The subscription plan changed. It was free for a lot of things before, then pay for more than one project, and both had a promo code from Nano at one time. But now there's 3 tiers, including the free one. So they've made less available things free in the free tier. That's awful. But also,
they always do it.
Yeah.
But also it's a business. So.
That's what I said. Interesting. Miley says, I haven't had that issue with Word. They know better than to put AI on my face because I will crash out. Damn, I wish they knew better with me because what the hell? I did crash out. I didn't like it. Keiko says, PC, Word, all my educational writing books, my playlists, getting ideas depends on different facets, but brain dumping everything into a doc is a must. Kiko, my question for you is like, when you say your educational writing books, are you saying you're dipping into those every single time you're like, are you using them as a reference? Like when you're starting a project, do you go back into writing books to look up, you know, structure and format and plotting and stuff like that? Or is it just that you have them in your head already, and so you're kind of referencing the fact that you have read them and thus they are part of your toolkit? Because I kind of love that idea. It's like very academic of you when you're like starting a new project to then pull out the text and be like, okay, you know, re-referencing. Like my sister is a historian, and she'll often, you know, have her like imperative texts near her, and like she'll pull, I love that image. It's so romantic to me.
That's also what I do when I not to make it about me again, but when I
Please.
draft,
I love
I
what you
will
do.
actually use the save the cat.
You like pull it
So
out and
I
remind
pulled it
yourself.
out. For example, I didn't know what to do with my back half of my act 2.
Mhm.
So I pulled out Save the Cat, read about the midpoint, figured out what kind of midpoint I have, like if it's a false victory or a false defeat. And then, you know, depending on the midpoint, you're having an upward or downward spiral for the back half. So that kind of, not even kind of, that just informed like, okay, I need some downward spiraling or upward spiraling moments to happen in this part of the book. What can that be? Like, what would be a win for the characters? So it does feel very academic, but I also think my brain just works in a sort of, you know, academic way in terms of rules and regulations. Like,
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
to me isn't this like, you know, extraterrestrial, celestial experience. It's very much like, okay, we're at the halfway mark. We need an upward spiral, and then we go into, you know, the 5-point finale. It's like a checklist, basically. And, you know, does that make good or bad art? I don't know, but it makes my art. So
I like it. No, I think that's great to have a reference guide that you follow, because it's, yeah, no, I think that's great. Sorry, Grape, we are going to get to, I just kind of want to get through. Oh my God, we're fine.
It's okay. Keep going.
Thanks. After those 10 outlined, I start writing the actual first draft. I call it a draft because my outline is more like a zero draft than what most consider an outline. Yeah, that's fair. Malin is updating us about all the tiers on, what's it called? The first draft?
First Draft Pro.
First Draft Pro. And yeah, to me, well, you know what works for you works for you, but I think Scrivener costs like $50 in a one-time purchase. And so at these tiers, within 5 to 10 months, you could have just paid for Scrivener. But if it's got stuff about it that
I would say the interface is beautiful in First Draft Pro. It's very easy to move scenes around and to get like an outline, like a bird's head view of your novel. I do miss that in Scrivener, because you can get very muddled in the Scrivener.
That is true. Scrivener can get disorganized very fast. That's true.
Yeah.
Miley
We've
says,
all seen Katie's documents, so not to drag you live on me.
Why are you just randomly being mean to Katie? Anyway,
she knows it. She knows it.
Miley, I love this. This is something I've never heard before. I will also talk to myself in the Snapchat video diary and work out characters and plot stuff there. My Snapchat memories is more personal than any journal I've ever had. I love that. That's so beautiful. Hopefully nothing happens to Snapchat. Author Jessica Berry. I said author Jessica Berry, and I go back and forth between writing the zero draft outline and my first draft. Oh, I also sort of vomit out scenes that are stuck in my head and demanding attention, the ones I really want to write so that I can focus on the rest of the story. That's such an interesting like debate topic, right? Because I used to force myself to wait to write those. It was almost like I had to earn them. And then on this story, in the first month that I was just vomiting, I got so many thousands of words because I was letting myself write the scenes I really wanted to write. And I do wonder if that has been a problem for me now in the workflow, is now I'm struggling now to write the glue, because I don't have that reward that I'm building up to anymore. Wendy says, drive for thinking. Anything that you can get into a flow of doing without having to focus on it can work. I come up with ideas and solutions while I'm cooking too. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I don't know what this was referencing, but I'm sure it was the correct word.
The little, Bridgestone chapters situations where I outline what's called the 10 poles. Yeah.
As much as I'd love to say it's bedtime. Good night, Annie. We might have missed you because this was 10 minutes ago. Kago says, also the German in me will want to structure and outline everything, at least attempting before.
There were two
I don't
two
see
more
it.
replies.
Before, kind of. I don't know.
I assume before writing.
Oh, sorry. I thought they got cut off and there was like a second thing. I was a diehard Google Docs user, but then they changed their terms and conditions so that they can use Docs to train their AI. And now I hate that, so I'm back to Microsoft Word and emailing myself. Yep, that's fair. Marina says, sometimes you need a soundtrack to the maladaptive daydreaming Steeg. Okay.
If you don't maladaptive daydream, you don't need it, Miranda.
Oof, how do you not maladaptive daydream? Oh my god. What do you think about all day?
No.
He has a big boy job.
Even when I had
think
a job, I was
about,
maladaptive
the things
daydreaming.
I love. I think about my stories. I think about work. I think about what I'm having for dinner.
Katie, someone's not gonna die if you maladaptive daydream at the movie store. Someone may die if Steve maladaptive daydream.
As I was saying it, I was thinking about that. I was like, well, it's very different.
Different job. Lindsay
Yeah.
says, my tools are Google Docs, John Truby's Anatomy of Story, re-ref with each book. Love that. And watch and or beat out similar movies to see how they take ambient soundscapes on YouTube. Oh, love this, Lindsay. These are great.
The movie thing is cool. I like
that. Is really cool. I first brain dump everything and all the dialogues that come to my mind and then look into the books. Got it. I'm terrified of something happening to Snapchat. Well, don't get me started. Yeah, that would be like really devastating. I don't know if you can download those videos, but you should just just in case. Is he being mean or just pointing out one of the ways Scrivener is not helping Katie? That's true. That's true.
I mean, it has helped her significantly. So
he said it in a mean way. He said it in a mean way.
That's just because it's my tone of voice, Wallace.
Okay.
It's a bit. It's a bit.
I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of our bits that come at each other's expenses. I'm gonna say that. I don't like it. I note the idea down in Notion. After I get a couple of scenes and or beats, I get a journal and keep making notes. I start with character sheets, mood boards, Pinterest boards. What are some notebooks that you like? Influence me.
Wallace.
Wendy says, I lose stuff on Scrivener too, but I'm not less likely to lose them in anything else. Learning I can kind of tag things is helping a little. Oh, that's good. Miley says, I'm at the end of the comments. Miley says, when I let myself write the exact exciting scenes first, usually by the time I get to them in the actual draft, they aren't even the same story. So I get to write them again, but this time truer to the story. That is true. That's a good point. The exciting scenes I've written now make no sense comparatively, so I will have to rewrite them. But Elaine says, I then do a save the cat beat outline, then a loose outline of scene ideas. I usually go back and forth making notes and adjusting my outline in my journal. I re-outline a million times while drafting. Girl, same. Also, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for answering this question so completely. I appreciate you guys for sharing your answers. Devesha.
Yes.
Draft, what tools do you use and in what order?
Can you hear me? Are we in sync? Because Wallace is frozen for me.
I can hear loud and clear.
It was definitely me, Jesus. You all went spinny circle.
Okay. Workflow. Oh, I broke my clock clip. For a first draft. Historically, it's been something along the lines of starting a physical notebook, brain dumping in the notebook, and then transitioning into a Scrivener document where I then kind of parse out all my ideas and stuff. And before I attempt in an actual outline, I'll just do scene list, a massive scene list. Not even actually scene list, just lists of things to include at some point. And then when I get to outlining, I try to organize that by chapter. And yeah, I think my outlines have been chapter by chapter outlines pretty much. And then when I get to a spot where I either don't know how to transition to the next plot or whatever or beat, I pull out the Save the Cat and the Story Genius and I try to figure it out via text. And then I start drafting.
And what would you say is while you're drafting, what would you say is your biggest tool?
YouTube's deep space ambient sound.
Yeah, sure. What about that gets you into the right headspace?
It just makes my brain go brrr.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, and when you were talking about earlier, the music informing the writing and the writing informing the music feedback loop, I definitely think I am opposite of Stieg in that, like, the music can definitely inform the writing for me. And not even like just a song that I have specifically, picked for the playlist for the story. Any song can do it. I can listen to any song and pinpoint something in it that could fit somewhere for something. And I'm like, okay, how can I take whatever emotion or like whatever imagery is in the song and apply it to what I've got going on in my book?
Yeah. I love that. What song has recently impacted you in that way?
Recently, that is a very good question.
Thank you.
I will need to
you can think on it.
So deep.
While you're thinking about that, we have a couple of just final thoughts. Sayla and I are so aligned here. She says, Wallace doesn't like friends punching down, and not gonna lie, I'm aligned with that. Negging gets old, but generally hyping each other works so much better for me. And then I believe it was Stieg posted a link to this article about why do friends roast each other. And I think that the person who wrote this just felt a need to justify why they're an asshole to their friends. I am definitely, and all three of you guys know this, but like when we first were friends, the dynamic was definitely like, as we were like figuring each other out, there was a lot of teasing happening. And I had to be like, that does not work for me. That makes me really bummed out. I don't want to be around people who are constantly making me feel like critical.
But if it works for me and Katie, we should be allowed to tease each other, because that is,
as long as
like
it
we both align with
actually,
that kind of.
Here's my thing. As long as you're being honest with yourself and it actually works for you. I'm always open to the idea that different people vibe with different things, but to me, it's so alien. Like, I just hate being around people that make me feel bad about myself, even in a joking way, that I really struggle to think anybody likes it. Now, I'm not trying to say that you don't, but my thing is like, if you actually are fine with it, if it actually is a bonding thing for you, okay. But be honest with yourself. Like, because to me, I used to try and rise to the occasion. I used to be like, haha, okay. But now I'm like, wait, no, that hurt my feelings. That makes me feel bad. Even if you said it as a joke, I don't like that. Right. And I think being honest with yourself and with your friends is so much better than constantly, because I think the problem is that it can become a feedback loop because you're having these little tiny initial negative reactions to those. And so then you start being negative back, and then the person starts being negative back. And I'm not talking about in a single conversation that leads to a big fight. I'm talking over the course of a friendship, that I've seen this happen where then suddenly people start getting really resentful towards each other because they associate each other with these tiny little, it's death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing, right? Like these tiny little negative pinpricks that then build up into a negative response whenever you're hanging out with somebody, and it like leads to resentment. So
I would just like to say in this case though, like with Stieg being like, your Scrivener's so messy, like that does not hurt me in the slightest. Like, I understand if like it's actually something that does hurt me, and when that does happen, like I like the 0.1% of the time that it happens, I will tell Stieg, and he's like, okay, I won't make fun of you for that anymore.
Yeah, and I think we as a group, we're very good at communicating that with each other.
But just so like people know, like this is an old bit that I am fine with because it does not hurt my feelings. Like I completely agree with everything you're saying, Wallace. I just also want to say that like with me and Stieg, with this old bit, like we've gotten to the like not even gotten to the point, like even before originally when he was roasting me, it did not hurt my feelings. So like it's like a roast, but like yes, it isn't good fun because I'm not personally hurt by it. I can understand how you would be hurt by it if it was something that was said to you. It's just why everyone has an individual relationship, but
yeah.
Just as like
I think if it's something that you have roasted yourself about, then it hurts less when your friends roast about it because you've.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't even hurt me at all. Like I know I'm messy as hell.
That's fair. I think, yeah, just like in a sense of like analyzing my own behavior, I think the reason why I like called Stieg out on it was because I have been felt like I have been negged a bit recently. And so I think I'm just extra sensitive to it when it's happening to other people. And I'm like, wait a second, I don't like when this is happening to me. So I want to step in and protect someone else. They also don't like it. Let's.
Bless you, Devasha.
I also think am I using that correctly? In the grand scheme of things, We are a lot more positive than we are like roasting or roasted.
And I think we've gotten there. I think honestly, I have to give Wallace her flowers. I know she's frozen right now, but
Here's your flowers.
Here's your flowers. Sorry, you're not gonna hear it, but I think she's really brought that out in all of us. And I appreciate her for that.
Yeah.
Not that she's here to listen to it, but I was giving you flowers, Wallace, and you weren't there to hear it, but it's okay.
Sorry.
I was saying
she's gone. Oh,
hello?
What's happening? There she is.
3?
Okay, 4?
Okay, 4?
4.
Okay, we're fine. We're fine.
I also love that we're just like, you know, opening up our relationship like this or a friendship just to the depths of the internet live on Maine.
It's what we do.
It truly is funny to me.
Yeah.
Not funny, but
Lindsay says, you guys are so good at communicating. I love this. Most friends can do exactly what y'all are doing now. It's true. Therapy session on Maine. I love this. You know what it was?
I do this. Sorry.
No.
The part of the reason why I think we do this sometimes is because I know we've played some pranks in the past where people in the audience, like for good reason, have gotten kind of upset about it.
Yeah.
And so I never want to I don't know, when it's something like this in our friendship, and I know that people really care about that parasocially or socially,
stresses you out. Wait, why would it stress you out? Is it because we get spicy with each other sometimes? Why does it stress you out? I think for me, the reason the communication is so important is because right from the get-go, when we first started becoming friends, I saw that there was such potential for a real deep friendship here and great things to happen. And I knew that in order to Jodie foster that, we had to have some,
yes,
we had to have some hard-hitting boundary setting right at the start and an understanding and full honesty of who I was as a person, right? At least initially, right? And I think everybody, really rose to the occasion. And I don't know.
Every time Wallace bucks up and is talking to Stieg and is like, cut the shit, be serious with me, I'm like, ooh, that's hot.
Please, Wallace, I need to deflect with humor. It's who I am.
No, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Okay. Just really quickly, because this place serves breakfast every morning and I've only got 20 minutes to get my muffin or whatever. So we're going to go into another sprint, but I am going to quickly go over my workflow. I'm not going to go over with saying that this is typical. I'm just going to say that this has been my workflow for About You. Very different than anything I've ever done. But literally, this whole thing started with me being told by my editor that the publishing house wanted more pitches from me. And so in the depths of my book tour with Katie Ann and my sister, basically being like, okay, what do we do? The truest of true spaghetti at the walls, nights spent brainstorming, pulling from old stories that I was going to cannibalize, elements that I really enjoyed from those stories, a lot of Blackwater, RIP to her, but a lot of Blackwater has found rebirth within About You. And anyway, so this story had a weird inception. And because of that, I wrote my very first chapter in Ohio on a writing retreat, whatever, we say the name of the place all the time, in a coffee shop, very much no idea where I was going with it. And then once I had my first chapter, I then spent 2 months almost just really holding myself accountable for research, of thinking of all of the things that I wanted to include in this story, using not Save the Cat as a reference, but using A Dark and Secret Magic as a reference, because these two books are going to be kind of twin sisters a little bit, or Irish twins, if you will. They're going to feel familiar because that's what my publisher wanted. They were like, we want what you did with that, but for the winter. And I was like, okay. So, and then a ton of brain dumping in Scrivener in January, right? So if research was happening in December, and that was also happening in Scrivener, but just not in the main document, it was happening in sub-documents within Scrivener, research documents. And then January was about just brain dumping, word vomiting, zero drafting. Got tens of thousands of words in January. And then through that and rewriting outlines over and over and over again, both in just a brain dump outline sense, but also looking at the timeline of my story and using Scrivener to format. Like, you know how you can do cards in Scrivener? I would basically make a card for every single date that I thought this story was going to cover, and like writing a quick blurb about what I thought should happen on that date, re-outlining. And then, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. Then at a certain point though, in January, I realized several very critical pieces of information that then kind of meant I needed to start over. And unfortunately, that's been my workflow ever since, is that outside of just life getting in the way, my workflow, if we're only considering my workflow in the story right now, my workflow, and we'll talk about this in part 2 in the second question, but my workflow really has been trying to inspire myself through my playlist, right? So listening to my playlist a lot, that really is carrying a lot of the weight of this story, and going for a lot of long drives and starting over. Like starting over has been the death of me, because as I mentioned earlier, I've written in January, I allowed myself to write all the fun scenes and everything like that, because I was just trying to get word count in, because I was doing the ramp up weeks in January, and oh God, to recreate the high of the ramp up weeks, like that system so works for me. I should have just kept going. I should have just seen it through. But anyway, yeah, I've just been starting over. I cannot even tell you how many times I have made it like 15,000 words into the draft and then been like, gonna start over. It's just this first act. I feel like once I'm out of the first act. But anyway, we'll get into all of that later. And I know people are commenting on the like communication and stuff, but I do want to go get breakfast because I'm hungry. I think that's why I got nauseous earlier, was because I haven't had anything to eat yet today. So I'm going to go get some food and work. And actually, let's do a little bit longer because we're only doing 2 questions today. And like I said, I have to be out of here in just under 2 hours. So let's do a 35-minute sprint. Are people okay with that?
Works for me.
I'm so fine with that.
Okay. 35-minute sprints. Thanks so much, everybody, for your participation so far. Get ready to talk about basically like in the next half. How do I get this to go away? Sorry. In the next half of the stream, get ready to talk about and get ready to analyze whether or not your workflow is working for you, and get ready to, maybe we're going to do a little bit of not troubleshooting, but just like brainstorming about people's troubles with their workflow. All right.
Feedback loops.
Yeah. Happy sprinting, everybody. Alrighty. Let me stop the music. How did that sprint go for everybody? Let me.
Oh, there you go. Update. Can't wait to see it.
I love this whiteboard situation.
Isn't it fun? It's like so
Obsessed.
It's great. It's amazing. Honestly, you gotta keep going just for that alone.
What was that? What's that called?
Procrastination?
No, thank you.
How dare you, Grape?
Oh, it was
Candyman?
cinnamon roll.
That was the breakfast this morning. Also, they had like a healthy option. They had yogurt, but it was cherry yogurt, so I couldn't. But
Oh no.
But yeah,
Did it have the cherry in it?
Yeah, I get there was cherries at the bottom, so I could have like just eaten the yogurt on top, but I was sort of like whatever. But you guys, these cinnamon rolls were literally the size of my face, and I zapped it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Stunning! I wasn't able to finish it, but it's been really good. I really enjoyed it.
I love it.
And I worked on my book. What did I say? I had something I wanted to talk about while I was writing. I was like, this will be a good update for the thing. Talking about workflow, there's something that I'm doing because, like I said, I've been re-outlining, restarting, everything like that. But there are still things where I'm just not fully sure where they all fit into the story. And so sometimes, where your brain does that thing where it like when you're writing, you're like, why did I write that? And then 20 pages later, you're like, that's why I wrote that. That's what's happening here, right? So right now, anytime I'm in I hit a sentence that feels like, why did I write that? Or I know that this sentence needs to earn itself. I highlight that sentence, leave myself a comment that just says check off, not check off, but check off gun. And one of the things is, at least right now in this draft, my character only has 2 bags with her. One is a bag of money, and one is a bag she randomly grabbed out of her car because it was the only one she could reach because the car had crashed. And right now, the biggest checkoff in this chapter is what's inside that bag, because I kind of love the magical realism of the idea of it's a very random collection of items. And in this chapter, it's going to seem like a really absurd collection of items, but I want
it's a bag of holding.
Yeah, but I want it to be relevant throughout the story. So, and again, this might not stick around, but it's what it's what I highlighted it and I check-offed it. So anyway, that's one little random thing about my workflow. Katie, how'd you do?
I did well. I flipped, I did some more laundry, or I switched around because all of the laundry was semi-dry. So I took out the bigger sheets, and then I had the blanket, the smaller blanket, and the things. And I had that going for an hour, and I took those out and I just switched them with the bigger blankets so they can get fully dry. So we're almost there, people. The saga of the laundry is almost done.
The soggy laundry is almost done.
The saga, yes. Oh, yes. That was so good. I hated it. And then I wrote some, and I wrote 167 words, and somehow I am over 40K for this draft.
Oh my God, slay.
Not somehow. You wrote 4K yesterday. That's how.
Yeah.
So slowly, the little word count that I need to get every day is going down.
Also, what's crazy is you totally restarted this book 12 days ago?
No, well more than that. March 21st.
Wait. Our spaghetti session was over a month ago?
Yeah. I think it was a little bit earlier than that, because I think my deadline was March 28th. So yeah, I think it was the 21st. Or around there that I had the mental breakdown, and I started then, and then we had our April adventures, which really set me up for a good time.
That's true.
And
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
good job.
It's wild. But yeah, the scene, we are officially meeting one of the characters' exes.
I love it.
Line, please.
We meet an ex. Okay. Let me think. Okay.
I guess if that's all right with Wallace. By the way, this is her show, not mine.
That's fine.
I'll read you the paragraph because I haven't finished the paragraph where I describe her, but
I'm sat.
Okay. She's already sat outside a little table, one of the aforementioned green smoothies in her, because she's at a smoothie store, basically. It doesn't matter.
Not an acai bowl?
No, maybe it should be. Anyway, this is Ariel's POV, by the way. Sometimes it's shocking to see Carmen and remember that they're grown up now. She'd always been beautiful to him, even when she was young and gawky with her long limbs. Now, though, she really is beautiful. She knows precisely how to angle every limb, how to tilt herself to catch the best slant of sunlight. And like the sun, she was almost too gorgeous to look at.
Oh, that bitch.
Slay. Hate her already.
No, well,
I mean,
Is this
complicated.
I dislike her for a lot of other reasons, but I don't think she should be disliked just because she's pretty. That's not nice.
Yeah, like it's very complicated for Ariel at this point, which is why I'm trying, like, because they've been broken up for a while, and the way they broke up is not very great. But something we talked about, and not to derail us, but just a small aside, we talked about like whether like she can be a bad partner to Ariel and like they not have a great romantic relationship, but she can still be a decent mom to Eduardo, and like they can have their like a separate relationship, and like it's not amazing because like whatever, but like she doesn't have to be like a terrible parent to whatever. So that's where Ariel has some complicated feelings because he knows it's better for Eduardo to have Carmen in his life.
Yeah.
So he has not fully actualized what some of the things that went down that were bad happened to him yet. So it's fascinating. It's an interesting exercise in how do I describe this character from his POV, because I know more about her really than he does, because he does not understand yet, because he hasn't like, he'll like, it's like when you explain something and someone's like, that's trauma, babe. And you're like, really? He hasn't had that conversation yet.
Yeah. Steve, how did you do?
I will say just, to touch Kate, not to touch Katie, to touch on what Katie said, but
just a hug, hopefully.
Like the way you talk about this draft compared to, the 0.05 draft is just, it's giving me so much joy.
Yeah.
It is such a relief to see you in like such a better headspace about it. Yeah.
I feel better about it. So I'm so glad.
Steve, how'd you do?
Love to see it. I also wrote some more words. I'm setting more scene than I probably should set, but I was just in, a little spooky description vibe. So I wrote some more spooky descriptions.
Nice.
Give it to us. I want to hear the spooky descriptions.
Okay, I'm going to repeat the line I said last time because that kind of goes with the Scoopy. Sure, Scooby description. By the time the pale eye of the sun dipped below the horizon, the ruins of Saint's Rest came into view, looming in the jagged embrace of the surrounding mountains. As the night fell and the chill came down from the peaks like ghost fingers, they made camp on a dry field on the outskirts of town. The soldiers moved like clockwork as Captain Wicklow gave a few sharp orders, and within minutes the overnight camp began to take shape. Lanterns were placed lower around the perimeter. This is going to be long, by the way. Lanterns were placed lower on the perimeter, shrouded with canvas to avoid casting too much light. No sense in drawing attention in the mist country, Wicklow murmured as he gave the order. Sentries were posted in a rough circle, each pair facing outwards with the rifles resting in their laps. Every soldier had a strict order: shoot anything that moved within the mist.
Ooh, so good.
My God, the vibe.
That's very good, Steve.
I have a final battle to write, so I don't know why I'm resting at this place, but
Okay.
You're building anticipation, you're letting it have that beat of like the things are going to happen, and then
the implications.
The implications. Devesha, how did you do?
I just listened to music for that whole sprint.
That's fair.
Trying to figure out what project I would want to work on today, and by doing that I had to click through some songs to get the creative flow.
I love it. Yeah, to build off of that, actually, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. And it's kind of touching on like what is working for me recently. And that's what today's question is. But I have recently there's like an activity I do now called the playlist brain dump, right? Where in my author journal, not even on my computer, but in my author journal, I start my story playlist. And for every new song that begins, I write down the name of the song, okay, in one color of a pen. And then I brain dump during that song. And then when the song switches, I switch pen colors, write down the new name of the song. So I'm like tracking my brain dump. And I've done this 3 or 4 times in the past couple of weeks. And each time I get like 3 songs in brain dumping, and then I'm just writing a scene. Like it's like I switch into writing a scene.
That.
And it's actually gotten it's helped me get through some really sticky situations, because you can start the brain dump being like, this is what's sticky. This is the issue. Da, 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 da. I'm frustrated. Like, I get my feelings out. I do some other random brain dumping. There's no pressure. And I'm not trying. And like, even if you just brain dump the whole time and you don't get into a flow and you don't write, it's just one listen through of the playlist. And that's about 45 minutes for me. So that is like a writing sprint. And usually I get about 30 minutes of writing, handwriting. So my hand usually hurts by the end of it, but still. But no, I actually spent, while I was eating my cinnamon roll, Devasia, I came back and I was like, oh, my hands are sticky. I don't know if I want to write. And I was feeling kind of ick about the scene I was going to write. So I just started listening to my playlist and doing a mental brain dump. And then I was like, oh, I could do this. Da-da-da. And then by the third song, I was writing and I had abandoned my cinnamon roll. So, yeah.
I love that for you.
Well, I'm passing
That'd
the
be a good video too.
Thank you. I'll put it on the docket.
Put it on the 100 video list.
I know, I'm so behind you guys. I don't like.
That's not me negging you, by the way.
I know. No, I know it's not.
I'm totally stealing that. That's like literally sounds incredible. I love that.
Please do, and let me know how it goes, and you can give me your scientific review for me to include in the video, and I'll be like, this is what my friend Katie says, and this is what anybody else who tries it says about it.
Should we all try it? Should we all make a giant collab? Hello.
Giant collab.
Collab.
Lindsay, I don't know if you asked this before. I said there was also yogurt, but the full breakfast menu was huge cinnamon rolls, cherry yogurt with granola on top, and then a bowl of fruit, and I grabbed a clementine. So Mullen says, I finished work and then updated my finance tracker for the end of the month. I know I need to budget today, but I kind of want to get my words in before I budget. And I'm supposed to go to the bank today and do cash stuffing today, but I don't think I'm going to have time. Wendy says, I got 327 words, but mostly just struggling with how to best arrange the different threads that need to come together in this scene. Oh, good. I'm glad. Go for it. Use it if you want it. Kristen put David down for enough. Wrote 600 words. Remind me again. His name isn't actually David, right? That
It's not.
No, I have no idea what his actual name is, nor do I care. He's David for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I think I know what her
just
son's name is,
imagining-
but I'm not gonna say it in case it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, just keep it offline. You know, that's.
I'm kind of imagining Kirsten like putting actual David Letterman like to sleep in a little crib, like old man David Letterman.
Is he even still alive? David Letterman.
David is
I
his
think
pen
so,
name.
question mark?
I think he is.
Yeah, don't dox the baby.
Jessica has a line for us. She says, I understand that Krampus is part of me. He was there inside of me when I spoke with the great horned god, but I wanted a second chance at the life I gave up on.
Brutal.
Wendy loves complicated characters and relationships like that. Katie.
Boy, do I have a book for you. Coming in 2026.
Oh, by the way, when's the next Walls video coming in? Lindsay.
Stop nagging.
No, the thing is, the way I have 6 videos filmed and like in different states of editing. Like I have my Joshua Tree vlog from February. I have a vlog that I did where I went back to Winter Park, but just spent one day there. And the whole point was I was like trying a writing routine where I would write for 45 minutes and then ski down the mountain and then come back up and write for 45 minutes, ski down the mountain. I have a whole vlog for that. I have a whole like day in my life vlog from a couple of weeks ago, like just trying to get a good word count. Like I have so many videos and I just can't pull the trigger on any of them. And I don't know why. I don't know why I'm blocked on that, but it is what it is. And which is crazy because I literally get paid now for putting up a video. Like putting up a video is literally like $5. Like that's a coffee for me. I don't know why I'm not doing more, but I'm just not.
I don't know. Maybe you're going through the grief cycle and, letting yourself just have some time to, focus on your actual job as opposed to the fun stuff of YouTube.
Wow.
Illy.
Lesson yet you give us nothing. How dare you? I know. I'm so sorry. I'm booking a time machine to go into the future to pre-order it.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Wallace David Letterman. Now that's a name.
Wallace David Letterman.
All right. So now we're going to get into our second and sadly final question of the day. By the way, that was our last sprint because I want to give us a good chunk of time to get through this. And if we by some miracle get through this question quickly, then we
No
can
way.
do one. We'll do a final sprint. But I'm pretty sure that was our final sprint, and that we're gonna, because like I said, I have to get out of this room in 55 minutes. So, yeah. So it's time for troubleshooting, an honesty moment, et cetera, et cetera. Katie, is your workflow currently working for you, and where are areas you want to improve?
It's working much better than it was about a month ago, as we have established.
Right. Which that's interesting, because then it's like, was it the workflow's fault? Probably not.
I don't know. Honestly, it may have been partially because there's still some problems going on right now. But a lot of it just was the book was a false start, basically. And I had to redo it. And we're so much better for it. But yeah, I think my workflow, it's just, well, I had a lot of issues with Scrivener that I've regaled many times on this channel, like where they would not count my words correctly. Right. And so like it kept saying that I was like 10,000 words less than what I knew I had, because I was keeping track on my own. And so that was really frustrating. So I had to make a whole new document. And this document's working much better. It still has some, my headphones just disconnected and then reconnected. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anyway, sorry, that was weird. Anyway, so I completely lost my train of thought, so I'll just move on to a different thing. I think generally this book, until recently, did not have a very defined aesthetic, and like Pinterest board, and so my Pinterest board was kind of meh on like the inspiration for like the vibes that I'm trying to cultivate. Like I knew the characters and stuff, and I knew obviously it's tennis themed, so like I had tennis pictures, but we fixed that. I still don't have a great grasp on my playlist, which is like such a problem, because I do write to music. That's something about me, is I love to write to music. And like when I was writing Cruel Summer, I was writing Backhanded Compliments, I was listening to Cruel Summer a lot. And that was like the song that I would listen to over and over and over again, to kind of get myself back in the mood. And I don't have that for this one. So I kind of want to find that. I think like I would use Clean by Taylor Swift, but it's not fast enough. And sometimes I need the faster beat for when I'm writing. So that's kind of something I've been working on. And then also, I think just my workspace has been a little chaotic. My Scrivener file is chaotic. My brain's chaotic. I'm sorry, Devasia. Yes, go ahead.
Have you looked for a remix?
I haven't. That's a great idea. Let me just look it up.
Not to make it about me, but Clean was one of the bonus songs I got on the Eras tour, and I'm so happy for it.
That's a great one.
That's a great one. Just
they were all great. I think I was on the first one to get 3 songs.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I just think my workflow has been very chaotic for this book, and not in like even a fun way. Like a lot of because like a lot of my chaos with like the other books has come in like the playlist and in the the mood boarding and like the Pinterest and like making mood boards and character boards, and like I just haven't been doing a lot of that stuff, and like I don't feel inspired to do a lot of that stuff. So like the chaos is spilling into the actual like writing of the book. And another thing that I realized is that this started when I was writing Invisible String, because I used to be like you, Wallace, or I think it was you that was talking about this, how like you always had to write in order. And I write pretty much, I've always been the proponent of writing chronologically for myself, because I feel like I need to build those moments so I can accurately describe them. When I was writing Invisible String, though, that kind of changed, because I would start writing with what the emotional beat was. And then I would go back and I would like write a bunch of it, and I'd figure out like kind of what I wanted to say. And then I would retroactively go back within the same writing session and fill in the blanks. And so I got in the habit of doing that. And it just like really is making this book and like some of the parts of it feel really choppy. So I'm trying not to do that, but I also don't really want to write like the transition scenes, and I'm like struggling to start those. So like just the actual act of like writing certain scenes is more difficult. And so it takes a while for me to get into it. And by the time I do get into it, I'm exhausted, because I'm like, God, I've used all my brain power trying to get this fucking scene to transition in the right way. So anyway, that's
noise. Is anybody hearing that? That like
Yeah, I just assumed it was the dog. Sorry,
oh,
Blue. I always blame you, but
He's not doing anything right now.
there was like a clacking.
mhm.
Oh, that might be me. I'm fidgeting with the AirPod case.
That's
Then it was in fact
Mm,
you.
it was you.
wow. Blue
Another
getting the
dog,
blame.
I guess.
It's okay, buddy. Yeah, it's okay.
Katie, can I make a comment for you to
Absolutely.
not reflect on, but just like, so, okay, given that you have had such an improvement comparatively in just your mood and your attitude over this story, give me a retrospective on yesterday.
In what way? What do you mean?
Like your mental state at the end of the 4K.
I was a little crashed out. I just
I'm so sorry. This was beyond out of pocket.
Who said that?
Oh my gosh, gays. All right.
Okay. I don't know. I just think I just got really tired by the end yesterday, and I know that I need to get a certain amount of words, and I had finished 2 chapters that were in the chronological order. So and I had been writing some of them, and that's part of the problem is I'd been writing some of them out of order, and I was pulling from places that I'd already written in draft 1.
Right.
And so I put them there, and then I had to retroactively go back and and it with invisible string, it was so easy for me to, not easy specifically, but it felt natural, I guess, to write that pinch point and then go back and write up to it, and I knew where I was building. With this, it does not feel natural to me to write that section and then come back and try to bridge them. They just it feels very finicky.
You need to experience their story before you jump ahead. I hear it. I so relate to that. But I guess
so frustrating.
For me, the thing I'm asking you, the question beneath the question is yesterday was your first day attempting 4K, which you said you need to get 4K every day from now until May 10th in order to meet your deadline. And on the first day, you ended it the way that you did it. And I'm asking you to then reflect, however you choose to, on the legitimacy of the overall strategy.
I think I know what you're angling at that I should get.
I'm not angling at anything. I'm just asking you to reflect.
Can I give my
in a pointed way? No kidding, not pointed. Yes, of course.
I think it's because you got all of them at one time in one sitting kind of situation. If you had broken it up during the day, I think it would have been easier for you.
Yeah, you didn't start until quite late.
I did start quite late. Yeah. And I think that was part of the problem. So I think that, and also I decided, and then I also had the whole fiasco with the fucking washer, which was really grating on me because it was this is so annoying. And yeah, it was just I hate this. I'm really frustrated with that. And I think yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, how viable it is to try to write 4,000 words all in one sitting. I think I can agree with that. But also at the same time,
write 80,000 words in 15 days. How viable is that?
Just, I mean, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's fair.
Bird by bird.
Bird by bird, bit by bit, piece by piece, and eventually, it will work out. It has to work out. I have to do it.
This is my concern, Katie, because to me, this looks like the beginning of a journey we have all gone through multiple times, where we set these goals for ourselves at the start and we were feeling really hubristic about it, and then very quickly reality catches up with us, and it can have a very big impact on our self-confidence when we don't meet these goals. Not to make it about me, but I was reflecting on this during the sprint of I feel very despondent right now about where I am in the story, but this is my very first time writing on deadline. And I don't know if I've ever written a book this quickly before or gotten this far into the work on a book this quickly before. Even with this book is for October, like it took me, I wrote the first 10,000 words and then took an entire year off of just general, like having it in the back of my brain before starting over again. And it wasn't even until a year after that I did my big push for Camp Nano all the way to the end of October, right? So that was over the course of like almost 3 years, right? And so where was I going with this? Right. So I have all these negative feelings right now of like, I am failing at what I'm trying to do. I can't believe I'm going to have to ask for an extension. But the reality is that I am going faster than I've ever gone. And this is such an improvement compared to my behavior in the past. But because of my bad expectations that I set up for myself, unrealistic expectations, I'm having negative reactions to my progress when I really should be so thrilled by the pace at which I'm going. And so that's kind of, I guess I am angling at something because it's like, I just worry that for you, it's such an improvement that you have changed your attitude and that you're already 40,000 words in and everything like that. But I just don't see, outside of you having a spark like you had for Cruel Summer, I just don't see how you're going to meet your deadline. And I fear that you are going to get extremely critical of yourself and more stressed out as the deadline looms closer and you realize you're not going to meet it. And then that's going to paralyze you again.
I do hear you, and I've also been considering that. But I think at this point, I've almost reached a point where, like, if I extend the deadline again, this is just going to happen again. Like, it's almost like if I keep moving the goalposts, I'm just gonna stall again and not work as much as I should, or like I'm just gonna do chunks, little bits here and there, and then we're gonna get to a point where it's like, oh, you have to write 80,000 words in 15 days. Again, it's just we've now moved the deadline again, so it's like it's come to a point for me where like just having the book on my plate at this point is part of the anxiety and part of the problem. Okay. And like, I just need to get it done. Like, it just needs to be done. And I feel like I can move forward with it because the direction that I have now is so much more interesting to me and so much more solid. And like, when I am into the thick of it, sorry. Brain rot, had to do it. When I am in the thick of it, I'm not hating every single second of it. That's like, right. I am enjoying having these moments. Like, literally, we were talking about yesterday, I wrote a part where I mentioned that Ariel doesn't drink. And I was like, why is that? And like, looking back on it, he was talking about it in context of like, before he had his injury. So like, why did he not drink back then? So like, I'm interested. Like, it's the checkoff thing where I'm like, what am I setting up here? And like, well, before I was just like writing things and I'm like, this doesn't matter. Like, it's so bland. There's no extra zhuzh to it that I'm like, I don't care where these random seeds I planted come from or where they go. So like, I've just come to the point where I am interested in the story. And so I do think even if I don't make the deadline, I think I will get so much closer to it by having that pressure, because at this point, like, I really just need it off my plate. And like, because even if I am enjoying the process more, I've just had to come to like, and I'm still grappling with this. I have to come to the point where this book is hard to write. Like, this is going to be difficult, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yes. It's hard, and that's part of why it's fun. I get, like, not fun exactly, but like, this is part of what I enjoy, like, I'm trying to convince myself, or not convince
challenging
myself. Yeah, it's challenging. That's
like, once you get through it, it will be rewarding.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just like, I need to get through it and it needs to be done. So, but I do hear your concerns, but like, that's kind of where I've landed now to reflect.
So in response to that, I would say then I'll pull back from the trying to encourage you to give yourself more time, but alternatively, I would encourage you to introduce within your workflow tools and items that you can take on in moments when you need resiliency. Because I feel like
she's like, I need a dopamine. Nope.
Well,
dopamine menu. There we go.
Yeah,
on that second word.
You're good. To me, last night was very reminiscent of when I am having a full-on crash out, and every single thing, every inconvenience suddenly becomes the end of the world because I'm so in a spillover over something else. And so I just would encourage you to, I like the idea where you're keeping the deadline to keep the pressure on so you don't just kind of become complacent, but have something in your toolkit for self-compassion or whatever, dopamine menu, like Devesha was saying, whatever, that as the deadline approaches, you can keep that pressure on you without it becoming so stressful and you start getting into a self-critical spiral, because that I think is where you can become really paralyzed.
Do you have any suggestions for that besides the dopamine?
I think no. Propose your suggestions.
No, I was needing to think, so go for it.
I think you have to not compare yourselves because your threshold for crash out is different from her threshold for crash out.
That's fair.
And
I would also like to say that my true crash out was genuinely about the fact that my laundry wasn't.
And maybe that
it wasn't like because you were like, oh, I think this is about something else. I'm like, no, the steady spiral I have about writing is actually about laundry.
I mean, you really think that's true? I do. I do. But if you think you had a beautiful day, like you had gotten 10,000 words written, you'd gotten dopamine, you were on your meds, everything like that, and that happened with the laundry, you would have crashed out. Like, I get being frustrated and annoyed. I get frustrated and annoyed when stuff like that happens too. But do you think it would have been like, just as impactful on you? That's why I felt like I just
think Katie speaks more passionately than the average person. So like what you think is a crash out is actually just a gripe.
I don't know. Devesha, do you remember when her pillow fell off her bed and her whole body literally was like, no, my pillow fell off my bed. It's like that to me is so reminiscent of when I am just like literally at the stage where anything at this point is gonna
because my bed, I was trying to make my bed because and like yes, I do think they're interlinked. I'm not gonna say that they're not, but it's less about the writing and the fact that I'd sat here for 11 hours and my back hurt, my butt hurt, like I was like so ready just to go to bed. I wanted to sleep in my freshly made, beautifully scented, wonderful bed, and I couldn't because my fucking washing machine kept getting fucking unbalanced, and it was 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. and so like it was just like, God, now I have to walk all the way over there to get my pillow that fell down. And it's not that far, but my back fucking hurts.
Because it didn't feel like it was about the project or the words.
Okay.
Yeah. That were written. It was a little bit of the Scrivener resetting situation, but it wasn't about the actual words themselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, but and I will take any and all suggestions for how to keep this, I don't know, how to reward myself, I guess.
Honestly, on the path. I think it's not even about rewards and stuff like that. I think it's just about your internal narrative, right? It's like just being cognizant, because that was another thing last night. It's like, and I know you say them as jokes and stuff, but it is like, it has an actual impact on your mental health. Like the amount of suicide jokes you made last night frustrated me. And
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Like, I'm not like, it's your response to stuff. I'm kind of holding up a mirror, right? Because it's just,
I'll look directly at the sun. Sorry.
Sorry. I think having a better internal response to frustration that you're feeling over whatever is going to help you through to the end of this draft, whether or not it's about writing or not.
Yeah. And I think I do need to change my scenery. I think I just sit here at my desk too much, or in my room too much, because that's where I'm comfortable. And I think, having maybe some separate space is, I think, the thing that I'm going to try to implement, even though I'm really bad at it.
Well, thank you for letting me put you kind of in the hot seat on what was supposed to be a chill, not very deep Friends in Shoptalk.
Well,
and Stieg, how about you? Is your workflow currently working for you, and where are areas you want to improve?
Yes, the workflow is working for me. The area I want to improve is I would like to get my writing done first thing in the morning.
Oh, tell us about that. Why make that change? If you feel like things are working for you now, why make a change?
Because then I don't have to stress about it.
Is it something that you find you stress out throughout the day that you haven't finished your writing?
not stressed out the way you're thinking stressed out, but stressed out as it's on my mind and it needs to be done.
Yeah, it's like it's every time it comes up in your brain, it just takes a tiny little chunk away of like, you know, I feel it. I understand. And what is your strategy for then implementing this change?
There's no strategies yet, Madam President.
What is that phrase where it's like goals without a plan are just dreams? Like you gotta have your strategy in place to actually incorporate it.
Well, currently I'm just dreaming about it. It's not an actual goal to get my writing done first thing in the morning.
Okay. I have a question for you, Stieg.
Yes, Wallace.
It's May 7th. Okay. Picture it, Sicily. And you have finished your book. What is your workflow?
I already have a project lined up when I'm done writing this book, so the workflow is going to be the same.
Wait, you're not going to take a break?
From writing, no.
Okay, look at you, Stieg. Look at you.
I also don't have to get 4,000 words a day to get ahead, so you know it's easier to not take a break when I'm eating crackers for dinner and not an elephant.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, think about you in 2022 when you were like, I haven't written in like 6 weeks. And now you're like, you're about to finish a whole book and you're like, from writing, take a break? No, like you've done this. You have really built this habit into your life. And I think you should be really, really proud of yourself. Like you've really incorporated it into your daily routine.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's a good thing to acknowledge. So can we know what the new project is? Or how about instead of talking about
My
the new
bad.
project, you're okay. You talk about like, do you think you will just continue your current workflow with this new project or will you try a new strategy for this one?
Ooh, I think I don't know what my strategy will be because the new writing it's not writing light because I'm still writing actual words, but I'm writing a fan fiction after this book. So
Fun.
the commitment is the stakes are not that high. And there's not even like that high stakes because I'm not on a contract or anything, but like it takes so much more out of me to write novel length fiction compared to a fanfic, which can be novel length, but I'm writing in a script format, so
Right.
it'll be like I'm writing words, but you know it's different.
Yeah, that's
It's a different font, basically. In terms of workflow, I'm not sure because right now my goal is to get about 10,000 words a month, and I think I will keep with that goal moving forward.
Good goal.
And see how that happens.
Yeah.
I might move from 10,000 words a month to 300 words a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I need it to be low stakes.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's great. So other than
the elephant.
Oh.
Yeah.
No elephants.
But it is because the whole book is an elephant too, and you're just taking little bites. So like even if it is small and not a lot, like you're still working towards it. And I think that's really good for you. And I think you found a thing that works and like it's not stressing you out and you can have the fun, but like, it's still challenging too. But so I really think you seem so much happier working like this way instead of like trying to force yourself to have like these 1,000-word days. And I don't know. I just want to give you your flowers for that because I think it's lovely. And I'm very happy for you that you feel happier.
Thank you. It truly could also be just, going to therapy, being properly medicated, I was thinking about saying this, but I didn't say it previously when we talked about daydreaming, but I'm very content with my life, so I have no need to dream. And I know that sounds like super, super sticky, but like I have everything I want.
You don't even do like brainstorming kind of daydreams or dream scenarios?
I mean, I strategically think about my plot, but it doesn't preoccupy me in any way.
So like if you're in the car with your brother and he's talking about some sport ball game and your thoughts are on what, you don't just automatically like, never mind, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to actually like kind of play around in the story. I'm going to like set up the scene that I was just working on and like play through it through my head. Does that make sense?
I love this peek that we're getting into your own psyche debate. That's amazing.
No, I try to be an active listener when people talk. So.
Do you really though?
Oh, yeah. You don't think that?
I think you do try. I think you try so hard, and I will give you that.
I think Steke's an incredible active listener.
I think so too.
I mean, the reason I don't interject here is because, one, I don't want to interrupt you when you speak, and two, like this thing about like Katie last night, I was not there, and a lot of things you talk about, I'm not there for, so it's not for me to have like an opinion or talk about.
I'm thinking about our one-on-one calls, babe.
Oh, but you like to be mute though.
No, when it's just you and I having a conversation, what?
I think I asked you a lot of questions, prodding and prying.
You do. You try. I reversed that statement. You try.
But it's like, oh, you try. That's what I'm getting, Grape.
Well, that's not how I'm saying it. That's how it's sounding, but that's not the intent behind it.
You are acknowledging the effort that he puts in, is what you're saying. You're like, I do see that you try to be an active listener. Yes, I'm acknowledging that.
But it felt like a backhanded compliment. It's available June 10th in anywhere they sell books.
The do you was a backhanded compliment, but then I walked it back. I walked back the backhand compliment.
Okay.
Just
well,
I don't know
received a
how to do
compliment. Thank you so much,
correctly.
I love you.
That's fair. Also, Devesha, I want to say thank you very much for starring all of the responses to this question so I can just focus.
I tried to put them in person order, so like all of Aang's comments are together.
You are truly such a goat.
Dang.
Thank you so much. So just to go over some of them before we go into Devesha's answer, Gay says, my workflow is currently more master's degree focused than writing focused, so fair. However, I do have a day or two a month where I crank out 5 to 7K words with edits and never touch them again. Are we talking about like in different stories or... I'd like to improve on my time management because I suck absolute ass at it, but my therapist literally told me I have been doing overtime for 8 years straight and I need to crash out first. So, wow, okay. My only consistent thing is Pinterest boards that I obsess over for a bit and then never touch again, and mood boards. That's fair. Wait, so like when is it?
I wasn't sure was relevant, but I guess is in fact relevant.
Okay.
She asked, how do you crash out timely and efficient?
Yeah, I know. I love that. I was like, is there a scheduled, like, are we putting it on the calendar for Gay's crash out happening May 16th?
That is my birthday. Why on your birthday?
Why did you pick your birthday?
I was like, I want to pick the middle of the month, but not the exact middle. So let's do one off of the middle. And then it ended up being my birthday.
It's like someone's got to crash out on my birthday, but it can't be me.
You get the birthday crash out, guys. You get the birthday crash out.
Oh, that's incredible. Sayla says, making Pinterest boards and playlists do work for me. I project hop so much. It's nice to come back and sink into the vibes visually and sonically, like muscle memory. I love that. I want to improve my dedication to one project. I need to find either that John tier brain rot or revisit how I fully wrote my last novel in 2012. Actually, I was working a horrible job back then and wrote that book on scraps of paper during working hours. I don't have that level of escapism now, so I need to reframe the drive. Actually, yeah, that's true. One of the first time I ever finished a novel was when I was in a 20 credit hour semester and all my credits were science. There was no creative analysis, nothing reading, nothing, anything, because it was my junior year of college. And so I was like, I had done all the core electives and stuff like that. And I wrote an entire book as a way of a creative outlet. So yeah.
I also did that. The Wrath King, I wrote the end of it while having a mental breakdown. It was the only thing that kept me from not fully.
Yeah. Sayla says, Katie just reminded me I used to write out of order, and ever since writing in order, I lose steam and rarely get to the bits that would be the dopamine drive. It's interesting.
Maybe try writing out of order.
Jessica says, after writing with this workflow for the last 4-ish books, I'd say that it's working very well for me. The part of it I need to improve is my editing process. That is my constant struggle. See, I'm the opposite. Once I have a full-fledged draft, I'm in happy place. Like, and I think that's why I keep starting over, because I had enough words where I was like, oh, I could just start over and edit what I have, right? But of course, it's kind of a time waster when you haven't told yourself the full story to edit the first act over and over again, because it's very likely that there will things that will be revealed in Act 2 and 3 that then mean I have to go back and fully undo and redo Act 1. So that's something I'm struggling with. But the day that this first draft is done and I can finally enter editing mode, I will be so happy. But like enter editing mode guilt-free, I should say, because I'm definitely in editing mode right now.
I am very much looking forward to.
Sorry, Steve, what were you saying?
Go ahead, Steve.
Nope, ladies first.
I was just saying that it feels like you're more revising, is what I said to Wallace, as opposed to like editing. I don't know. I feel like they feel like different.
Oh, I guess I don't know the difference. I kind of use those two words interchangeably. Like, yeah, I use those two words. Like I'm doing dev edits. I'm not doing line edits.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also doing line edits, but I'm
But like line to like fix the development.
Well, but also sometimes because I just like, oh, I don't like the way this line sounds. I'm like, like I am definitely wasting my time. I'm not being efficient right now in my workflow.
Steve, what were you saying?
What were you gonna say?
I was saying that I very much hope, because there's quote, and when I say quote, I saw a TikTok saying that, or was it actually Brandon Sanderson's course? Same, but different. Someone was saying that, you don't necessarily have to be a good writer, but you have to be a great editor. And that's like how you sell books. And I think that's very much where I am in the process, because I love like the nuts and bolts and technicalities, but I'm like, what do you mean I have to invent stuff and put it on a page? So I do look forward to reaching the editing stage in this draft, which is also why I'm doing something like a light
palette cleanser.
It's the opposite of an aperitif.
A palette cleanser,
I guess. Yeah, but like in terms of a hors d'oeuvre.
Oh, okay.
A tapa.
And a moose bouche.
Just a midnight snack. Continuing the writing routine with writing the fanfic, because I'll keep my actual workflow alive, but at the same time, I get to really pick my manuscript apart and put it back together in something more beautiful and prettier, hopefully more coherent. That's all I'm asking for.
My favorite part of the process are the dev edits. My favorite part. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to experience it. Jessica says, I will, however, be working on that once on what the part I assume for my editing process. She'll be working on her editing process once she finishes Krampus, because I can intend to continue working on this story for the rest of the year. I love that. Wendy says, is it working for me? The detailed outline, I don't think it is. I think if I had pantsed this story, I would have more instinctively sewn in the backstory as I went, because I've done that before. But with this, I keep overthinking it to the point that I haven't sewn in enough. I feel like I've lost a feel by pacing. Wendy, you and me are on this ride together. Yeah, I deeply, deeply relate to you. Michael says, I think my workflow is working. The important thing for me right now is just staying to the plan and not getting ahead of it. Oh, that's interesting. And Miranda was giving Katie some tips for, also I think this was a tip for Katie.
Yes. Yeah, these are all the tips.
I it.
I pulled them out mostly for myself.
Yeah, no, change of scenery is huge for reversing brain rot. Why did we think I went into
a third space? Cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah.
I never write better and, not faster necessarily, but I'm never more happy writing than when I'm writing at my third space and not in my home.
Yeah. And not to like constantly be vibing about the co-working space, but I have something called like the club level membership, which means I don't have a reserved desk for myself. And that's more expensive. It's like several $100s more expensive to have a reserved desk for yourself. But I was like, I don't want to have to go to the same spot every single day. And the thing is, if you have a club membership, there are all these common areas where you can go to and sit down, and they're in totally different parts of the building on different levels and stuff like that. And so it's like, not just that I have this other space that I go to, but within the other space, there are other spaces, right? And so if I'm craving routine, I can go someplace I'm familiar with. But if I want to change things up, I can go to a totally new spot. And like some of them are really randomly cool. Like there's in one of the rooms, there are walking desks. And in another one of the room, there's literally just this huge couch that's a swing. And you can just sit in the swing, swing while you work. Like it's
Love that
Brainstorm
situation.
time.
right. There's like
Yeah.
there's an outdoors area. Like there's just, and obviously they're in this is what I'm in right now. It's called a deep work room. So it's just like, I'm 4 days into it, you guys, but I'm vibing really hard. You know, talk to me in, you know, at the end of the month, but I agree about the change of scenery is so big and so important.
Especially, and I don't know with you, Katie, but I'm very much a, you know, what's that word when you're like, you procrastinate, but you procrastinate with useful stuff?
Productive procrastination.
Yeah, I'm very much a productive procrastinator. So like my apartment is never more clean and, you know, well kept than when I am on a deadline. And getting out of the house really is vital for me to like, okay, you know, I can't, you know, clean my shower with a toothbrush, or I can't organize my entire closet. And I don't know how you feel, because I know you are very much like a cave dweller. I feel like affectionate in terms of your writing. Like you have your desk in your
Yes.
area, and you have your routines and trinkets, and your like sort of ceremonial approach to your writing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, you know, getting out of the house could improve that if you find a cafe or some local place to write.
I think yes. I think what I've been struggling with personally is like the barrier, not the barrier to entry of like, there's just other things. Like I have to prepare to go, like, you know, I have to get dressed. I have to like put on like real clothes. Like, you know, I have to find my glasses if I'm not wearing them. Like I have to like pack up all of my stuff. I can't bring, you know, my fancy keyboard. Like, you know, I can't bring, I don't want to bring all this stuff, I should say. Like, I don't want to accidentally like leave it somewhere, because like if I lost the fucking carpal tunnel keyboard, I would die. I love this thing.
Maybe you could plan for these days, you know? Not an everyday thing, but maybe like, okay, on Thursdays, because not Wednesdays, we have to spend the entire day together on Wednesdays. But on Thursdays, I can go to the park, and I'm only going to take my laptop and this notebook, you know? I don't have to be dressed to the nines.
Well, I was going to say to build off of your point, Devesha, but to kind of provide an alternate view is like there can be retextualizing there, Kata. My brain is not working today. There can be a recontextualization there, Katie. It's about that internal monologue, right? Is that you're thinking of getting ready as this onerous task that you have to get through, when in itself it can be a ritual as well, in the same way that writing can be a ritual, and you can romanticize that too and have fun with that. Like I literally went to bed last night and I was like, I get to wake up in the morning and put on my makeup and get dressed and pack up my bag and then go to the office. Like I was so hyped, and because it's like a ritual now for me in this time and space that I spend in the morning kind of getting ready. Now, if you don't want to do that, I also agree with Devesha that it's nice to just pick a space for you to go to where you don't even need to feel like you need to be presentable or anything like that. But
yeah, I think I do agree. Like I do need some sort of a mindset shift, because like I do want to do these things, but like something I've come to realize is that sometimes the routine takes more spoons away, and then I don't have those spoons to give to the work.
That's fair.
Or as much work. And when I have the work to do, like I have to do the work. So I can't use those spoons on like the luxury item of like going to a cafe and setting up and like looking all cute and nice and filming a video. Like those feel like luxuries to me in a way of like, I cannot use my spoons on those, because even like walking, because I'm within walking distance of a ton of cafes, of a library, of 2 libraries actually, like just the walking there is spoons that I may, you know, I know I'm not gonna be able to get as much work done because I'm going to a third space. And when I have all this work to do, that there's a stress of like, God, I'm gonna get there and I'm not gonna get as much work done, like, or potentially not gonna get as much work done because I go there and I'm already tired because I don't have as much energy.
Maybe that's something then, like not right now while you're on deadline and you're focusing, like, you know, to stay the course and stuff, but maybe that's something to really consider for yourself when you do have a little breathing room, is like you're not on deadline anymore, is to start kind of working those things into your routine and like trying more often, because and this isn't always necessary, especially with chronic illnesses, it doesn't always work like this, but sometimes when you like start doing something new, initially it takes up a lot of effort, it takes up a lot of spoons, but then eventually, kind of like what Steve went through with writing, right? Eventually though, it becomes part of your routine, and thus it either can become something you look forward to that can actually actively energize you, or it just doesn't, it's not as negatively affecting as it was. And then the benefits outweigh the negatives. So maybe that's something to think on for after you turn in this draft, is like maybe say, I'm going to try for like an entire month to go to a third space this many times a week and see how I feel by the end of the month. And it's not as much pressure because you're not on deadline.
And I think that will work better once I'm not on deadline, because I did my coffee crawl in Colorado, and for every coffee place that I went to, I worked on a different book. And like I brainstormed, I had a great time. Like I just like spent like 4 or 5 hours just going to different third spaces and just hanging out and doing brainstorming and like work that is not like fun work, you know, stuff that isn't going to come to fruition for like several years down the line. So like there's not as pressure on them. So I think, yeah, once I'm out of book 2's landscape, I can move to book 3 and like maybe use it then. So
that's fair.
I think you can still find a way to integrate it even now when you're on deadline. It doesn't have to be like, okay, here's the scenario that I'm imagining up in my brain. So say, what time do you wake up in the mornings?
10 a.m., 11?
10 a.m. How long does it take you to like get to your desk and then start writing? Or like start thinking about writing?
Well, it depends on the day. But sometimes it takes me like 2 hours to get to my desk. If I have a stream that I have to be at, or like if I'm going to stream, I go faster. And I wake up in the morning thinking about writing.
You think about it, but you're not doing it. You don't wake up and just immediately get to it.
Yeah, no, I don't. But I do like think about it. I'm like thinking about my day and like thinking about writing, and usually thinking about a project I'm not allowed to work on.
And then what's happening in those 2 hours? Like you've gotten up, you've showered, brushed your teeth, ate, played with the dogs,
scrolled,
the scrolling.
Talked about balls. The scrolling. The scrolling is honestly, it's the doom scrolling.
Yeah,
that's bad.
That
Twitter,
can take
TikTok,
a lot of
Instagram.
spoons, and you don't even realize how many spoons it's taking until you stop and you're like, where are all my spoons?
Yep, 100%. Yep, because like I get down a thread spiral where they're talking about the recent politic things that are happening. I'm like, oh God, now I'm exhausted of living and I haven't even moved. So yeah.
Okay, maybe you replace the chunk of time that would be spent doom scrolling with going, because now that it's getting warmer, taking a walk, a little jaunt to a coffee place, get your caffeine, maybe do like a single 30-minute sprint or something. And then, you get back with your coffee, set up at your desk. I don't know.
No, that's a
then
good
do another
point.
chunk,
like,
and then take a break and then do a chunk.
No, that's a really good point. Like I keep thinking about going to a third space as if this is something that like I'm going to be there all day. Like I don't actually have to be there.
I'm there for like 2 hours tops.
Like I don't even have to be there for 2 hours. I could be there for 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You could be there just to make your to-do list, or like,
I just like sit down and I just write on my phone while I'm drinking a coffee. Like I don't even have to bring my laptop.
Yeah. Who is it that writes on their phone all their books? Abby Jimenez.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, crazy. Her thumbs.
She writes all her.
Crazy.
Yeah. She must have like those ganglion cysts, because like damn.
Oh my God, I remember when I had one of those. Wait, did we meet each other before that one left? Yes, because I got it right after we met each other, because it was during election when I was playing that game on my phone to de-stress. That's so funny. Yeah, and then just one day it just disappeared.
Shout out ganglion cyst.
Just shout out.
The election gave you a cyst.
Seriously, I wanted to highlight this because it's helping me. Lizzie says, retexturing how I view deadlines helps me too. Like if you need an extension, literally no one cares. Your editor, publishing house doesn't mad. After the email, no one thinks about it again. It doesn't reflect on you as a person, writer, business partner. Everyone asks for extensions. Your editor probably asked for extensions on your book on her part, and you would literally never know. Same with publicist, cover team, etc. Lindsay, I need to know though, what is the acceptable extension length to ask for? Because I am legitimately considering asking for 2 months, and I'm wondering if that is like super unprofessional. I pitched it to my agent, and she didn't seem to have a problem with it. But I'm so nervous about, and my editor is on her honeymoon right now, so I have some time to think about like my strategy and stuff. But I'm also like, how grovelly do I need to make my email? Because I'm like, do I need to explain everything that's happened to me? Or is she like, nobody cares? Yeah, you can have your extension. Like, should I just be like, hey, life has really thrown me a lot of curve balls without going into it and being like, can I please have an extension? I don't know. I need advice. Lindsay, I need advice. I'm so stressed because I know you said it doesn't reflect on me, but I feel like it does.
What if it does?
Even though I would never assume it reflected on anybody else, this is my annoyance that I have with myself is these standards I hold to myself that I truly do not hold to anybody else. Like I actively want to encourage Katie to ask for an extension because I think it is the right thing for her to do. But then why, when I consider asking myself, do I think it means that I've failed as an author, that I'm going to get a bad grade in author class? You know, like I just, Sales says therapy medication have definitely impacted my sparkle. It's not a bad thing. I've just had to reframe my creative markers. And usually Gay says I work on different smaller projects like one shots because I want to get better at setup and payoff and build up on a smaller scale so I can do better on a big scale. I love that. And Sales says, Katie, I think making a dopamine menu works. So when you're low on spoons, you still have options that are low energy. And I am 35 comments behind. Lindsay says, I asked for 2 months and it was fine. No groveling. Most publishers bulk 2 to 6 months of padding for extension for their team. Anyway, slay. Oh my God. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. I feel so much better. Okay. Sorry. Stu loves editing mode. Wendy, I like the line editing and small tweaking because it feels like progress, but doesn't require the creative brain to be activated until I inevitably find whole paragraphs that need a complete rewrite. Devasia.
Oh,
How convenient.
I can't hear you anymore. So while you figure that out, you're muted.
You're muted. I think when you take out your microphone, it mutes you on StreamYard. Just unmute yourself. Oh, is she frozen?
Yeah, I unmuted and I was speaking and then you said I was muted. So I think I'm like lagging a little bit.
Oh,
you're back. You're good now. You're good now.
Am I good?
Yeah,
you're good now. Yeah.
Okay. Current workflow, definitely not working.
Okay.
Areas to improve, every single one of them. But the problem is, I don't know where these areas are. I'm blindfolded in a maze in a cornfield. I don't know where I'm going. Who took me here? How did I get here? I don't know.
I'm sorry that you're struggling like that.
That's okay. It's a, what's the word I'm looking for? Something of my own making. I don't remember, what's the phrase?
A gilded cage.
We'll go with that, sure. Gilded cage of my own making. But no, I think because when I answered the first question, I was thinking about the project that I was able to complete, and that was the workflow for those. And I've somehow deviated from that, which I think was my downfall. So I need to figure out how to get back to that version of a workflow, or like, an improved version of that version of a workflow, while having a better job writing energy balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What was the original workflow?
The original workflow, it consisted of a lot of handwriting. And I think I tried to, I wanted to move everything to be digital. So I stopped handwriting as much. And maybe that's also a part of it. Maybe I need to go back to handwriting some stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this to call you out or anything like that, but have you tried your Office Smart? I know that was something that you...
Yes.
Okay, it didn't work for you?
No, I've been using it. Listen, what happened is I was using it, and then one time I wrote 5,000 words,
and it didn't.
And then the battery died, and I changed the battery, and I lost those words. And so that scarred me. So
yes,
then I stopped using it for a little while.
Why would they design something that way? Does it not have autosave? That's ridiculous.
But now I am using it a little bit. I have a specific project that I'm working on in there, that I'm only working on in there. So
yeah, I love that.
She's alive. She lives.
I mean, could you see yourself incorporating like Steve has done, where you just set a very low, no, sorry, Steve, that's not what I meant. But when you started, it was low, wasn't it? Wasn't it
an extremely, extremely low in attainable?
Wasn't it 50
micro Prince level?
Wasn't it 50 words a day when you started?
The first week was 0 words a day. That was the goal. And then I upped it with 100 words each week. And it worked like a hot charm.
Yeah.
Hot charm. But it worked.
Have you thought about something like that, Devasia, where just acknowledge the fact that you just don't have the time and energy to write like books at the speed at which you would like right now at this stage in your life. And so just commit to writing 100 words a day. And over, the course of 100 days, you'd have 10,000 words.
I think also I need to go away from like word count.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
What about
the
like a time goal? Like every
Yeah.
day commit to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's something I've been thinking about. But 10 minutes, that's a little too much to ask to start off with. We're gonna start with 5.
Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah. That's
Are
totally-
you the sort of like, have you, whew, sorry, it rebooted. Are you the type of writer who, like, can you do big chunky days and then like take 5 days off? Or are you like a little bit every day kind of gal?
I don't think I can do like scheduled chunky days. I think a chunky day has to find me.
Come
I'm
out.
not looking for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What? Oh, the losing the words. I was like, what would have made you quit writing forever? That's fair. And do you see a pattern in your life in which you're like, oh, this chunky day happened right after X, Y, and Z? And is there like a way that you can manufacture it so that way you get more of those chunky days, or not really? It's just sort of the muse strikes when she strikes.
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't had any days in the past month, so I've got nothing to pull from. Not even the past month, past fucking 3 months.
Okay.
Nothing recent to pull from. I think it.
I like this little life.
Thank you so much, Deeg. I do in fact like this little life. I think on the days when I like come home and then I like jump on a live stream with someone, then those are more productive than not.
Do you think it's the social element that makes you productive, or do you think it's like the accountability, being live, being like?
I think it's the like not having any time to adjust to being in home mode, because I go from work mode to a different kind of work mode, but it's still a work mode.
I got it. And it's so easy once you're in home mode to just stay there.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe you also need a third space.
I in fact
telling you it's the future.
No, I realized that a long time ago, but I really couldn't have one because Kayla and I were sharing the car. So like, I was picking her up when I had it, and then on days that I was home, she had it, and then. Yeah. But now that she has her own car, I've got more time in my day.
Also, sister name reveal.
Oh, I feel like I've said it before, and it's it's a common name. You didn't get stuck with a Devasia.
That's fair. But like what I find so interesting,
or the Earthling,
it's that I love hanging out with you guys, and that but it is like kind of funny that the internet really doesn't count as a third space, I guess, unless we're live, because then I feel like I'm so in tune. But there is something to be said about like a physical leaving of home, and being in a place dedicated to other types of productivity.
For me, it's all about removing the distractions.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but to touch on Sela's point a little bit, I did have a third space at home that was very effective. Whenever I felt like too cooped up in my room, I would go into the basement and I'd, be a lot more productive because, different walls that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But then my aunt moved in with us and she moved into the basement. So then there went my third space.
But she moved out a long time ago.
Hey, not a long time ago. That was only in like August, okay? And then we know October was a month.
What about September?
August was like 8 months ago, babe.
Okay. September, I had just gone back to work. Okay. August was a shit. October was a shit show. November is the holidays. December, I had to go on that cruise.
Oh,
listen, yeah. I had a lot going on back then.
Booked and blessed.
And January February, March, April.
January. Okay. I can justify about anything, baby.
I
Don't
understand. But
This is not a personal challenge, Grape.
Well, and the thing that's confusing me is what are you justifying the idea of going out into the basement? Like, what is having to go on?
I'm justifying my reasons for having not utilized it.
It's the basement. It's right outside your room.
Also, now that it's free, Kayla is down there using it as like her little nail salon, so it smells like fucking formaldehyde.
That's fair.
Oh, formaldehyde.
Acetone.
That's funny.
No, not acetone. Like whatever
gosh,
the hell they use in the like professional. Sorry, I know you're
like the acrylics.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for all the comments I'm not going to be able to get to, but my time has run out. So, does anybody have any final things to say? 10 seconds each.
Did you?
I love this
question. I'm sorry.
I didn't have time for it, but that I kind of did right at the start. I did like a little thing, so it's okay. No worries. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody in the chat again for commenting and giving your expertise, or not your expertise, but your opinions. And also a special thank you to the three of you, because I felt like you guys were so engaged with this topic, and I really appreciated the conversation and exchange that was happening. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Malin. This was fun. I love Shoptalk too.
Can I propose that you leave and one of us reads the last 3 comments and then we end the stream? Because I feel bad.
Wait, what are the last,
answers to the question?
Okay, I can do that.
Them. It's like Kristen and Elena.
Okay. Kristen says, what even is a workflow? LOL. I'm definitely starting from square one and having to overhaul how I even think about my writing, because what worked pre-David just doesn't. Oh my gosh, that's so fair. Motherhood changes everything. Elena Williams says, definitely not. I really need to stop re-outlining and restarting. Girl, you and me, same boat. I'm hesitant to fully outline before I start because it will take the fun out of drafting, but now I end up pausing to re-outline. Exactly the same. I also struggle to keep my writing flow consistent the way that I'm doing it now. I write and hit goals for a week and then fall off for 2 weeks. Yeah, these are all great. Not like I'm not happy for you, but those are great insights of things that also feel very familiar to me. It's good to know that like this is not just a thing that's happening with me. Also, I did want to highlight this comment from Lindsay. Lizelle told me one way seasoned writers spot newbies is because they are the ones stressing about deadlines, and then I was embarrassed. LOL. Okay, this is helping me a lot. I'm feeling a lot better about
this. Has cured your depression.
Yeah. And Mom says, Katie, there's a gift for you in your mailbox.
I'm looking at it.
Where's my gift? I want a gift
too. All right. Any final thoughts, words, prayers?
No.
This was fun. I missed it. Thank you for hosting it.
Backhanded compliments. Pre-order is the name. You don't even have to pay. If you pre-order, it's free to pre-order on Amazon or your local bookstore.
You have to pay later.
You have to pay later. You can
remember
you have to pay later.
You have to pay later.
But you can also steal it. But then Katie doesn't give money, so I'm morally conflicted about that.
That's true. Also, Malin is ready. Next week is accountability, so go add your stuff to the sheet and get ready.
And also, me and Katie are doing the big Panic Weekend stream for April Adventure, so attend that if you want to, or if you don't, you're dead to me. Whatever.
Very true. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.